More than 98,000 already inside the MCG. Mike Brady has just belted out his classic anthem up there, Kazali, and the Magpie Army have got the Collingwood chant. You can hear that going around the MCG already. We've had Paul Roos, Chris Judd, we've got them all afternoon. Nerily Meadows, Dr. Rowan White joining us on the boundary line. But the two-time day, two-time night statistician is Ash Chewman, the chewer, and he joins us for the first time this afternoon. Chew, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, what a great atmosphere. Well, if you look at the Eagles, their record at the MCG in terms of finals, since 1995, they've lost 10 out of their past 12 at this very venue. But just a couple of game trends. Look at the kick-to-handball ratio for West Coast. They're going about 1 3/4 kicks to 1 handball. Now, that's the highest kick-to-handball ratio of any team since Collingwood back in 2007. When they crack in with more than 86 uncontested marks in the game, West Coast, they've won 13 out of 13. You look at the Magpies, contested ball differential, they're ranked second. When they've won the ground ball gets this season, they've won 10 out of 11. Just a couple of players to look out for. Josh Kennedy hasn't been held goalless from his past 55 games. Last time was the 2015 grand final. And finally, Jordan De Goey, since round 16, averaged more goals than any other player at the MCG to have played 2 games or more.
Outstanding from you too, man. I'm not a big one for omens normally, James Brayshaw, to welcome you back into the commentary box, but when the Collingwood banner has been ripped to shreds before the players have got out in the field, I don't know, JB, but it doesn't seem quite right.
That's the loudest roar we've heard all day. For the banner's been completely destroyed. Got to think, feel for the cheer squad, of course, who would have spent countless hours putting that together. But the Maggies are making their way up the race. You'll hear some noise now. This famous footy club playing in another grand final. What a journey it's been. Here we go.
The Mighty Pies, the Collingwood Football Club.
Halfway through their third game of the year, Roosie. They were 0-2 and down at half-time to Carlton. Not even the most ridiculous Collingwood supporter in the world would at that point have seen them playing in a grand final.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, but it's interesting how the competition's changed pretty significantly over the 5 or 6 years, even longer with Giants and the Suns coming in and free agency, because I think the top's come back down, which gives every team hope. I mean, we saw the Doggies 2 years ago, we saw Richmond last year, and I think Juddy, even being involved in Carlton now, there is hope for most teams, because I don't think we're going to see the super teams we saw of 01, 02, 03. Things can change dramatically. 18 teams, talent diluted a bit more. So even in those moments, I guess, and not only that, JB, I mean, West Coast, I remember the JLT one when West Coast got smashed by Freo over there and everyone was calling for Simo's head. So both these teams have sort of seemingly come out of nowhere. But when you see them on grand final day and you look at them on paper, they're still pretty good teams.
They are, but it also feels like their game shifted, where younger players can have more of an influence now than they could a generation ago, Duke.
Hey, Juddy, just saw on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, inconsolable head of the Collingwood cheer squad. She was sobbing in tears. Nathan Buckley took the time to go out and he gave her a big hug and said, "It's okay, we'll be fine." Here come the West Coast Eagles onto the MCG, and you can just hear a few boos just warming up, JB.
Oh, there's plenty of support for this mob in this city, though. They are everywhere, the West Coast fans.
It'll be hostile for them as they run out here. On to what is a very black and white MCG. Enormous amount of Collingwood support, as you would expect.
And there's another great story. Adam Simpson on our Chemist Warehouse replay screen. He's just been amazing. Gets better and better as a coach. Here they come. Hostile. For interstate clubs, Roosie, you know this, and so do you, Chris Judd. You've got to come to this Coliseum to win a granny.
Yeah, I like the fact that they've changed the ground. Juddy, it'd be interesting your perspective, because it's such a different ground over there at Subi. I love the fact that they changed the dimensions of the new ground over there.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. It's now the same size as the MCG. And there was a feeling back there, Subiaco was 15 metres longer than the MCG, and that gave them an advantage to get there, but certainly didn't help them on the big day. So they'll be wrapped with that decision now.
Teams line up for the customary photos. Collingwood have already done that, and they're starting their warm-up at the city end. And the Eagles now will get the photo done, and then they'll head down to the punt road end to start their warming up. Nuts place this when it's full.
And Roosie, is there one element of the game that you're really focusing on? Do you feel like there's a particular part that one side can get advantage in over the other or not?
I always feel like, lots have been spoken about Darling and Kennedy, but I just feel like grand finals are one lost in the midfield, and having coached against the man next to me now, that was the most. We knew they had good forwards. I think we had good forwards in Hawley and Mickey O, etc., etc. But you have to be consumed with the midfield battle, because if that gets out of control, I think both teams can gap the opposition with DeGoey, Mason Cox down one end, obviously Darling and Kennedy down the other end. So if I'm in the coach's box today, I'm making sure I'm watching Steele side bottom, Elliott, Yo, how's Treloar going, Pendlebury, stoppages. That's my area, Juddy, I reckon, where the game gets won and lost.
Yeah, and Brodie Grundy's going to be a huge part of that,
Yep.
Duke. I thought West Coast did a really good job on Max Gawn. A little bit of a different ball game against Brodie Grundy, who probably covers the ground a little bit more than even Max Gawn does. We see Max set up behind the play a lot and is a little bit more predictable. So Vardy and Lysette just have a huge amount of work to do on that man today.
Player by the name of Jeremy McGovern's going to be very, very much in the frame if you're a Collingwood side, trying to get through him, around him. Are you playing a defensive forward on him, Rizzy?
Absolutely. I think the formula was 2 weeks ago when they didn't, I think, in the first quarter, and they put Main to him after that. Main's a really disciplined player. Juddy, he's a ball movement changer, so you need to know where he is. So if you've got someone on him, which is a difficult role, at least you know there's going to be a contest when the ball goes forward, because he's as good as anyone at watching the ball, reading the play. He doesn't really worry about his man, because I've said this a number of times. There's only one ball out there, so if you're tracking the ball, generally you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
He's amazing to watch live, Roosie, Jeremy McGovern. And you and I both love American sport. He's like a cornerback eyeing off the quarterback. He just looks at the eyes of the kicker, and then just suddenly the ball ends up in his hands.
Yeah, you'd be fascinated. And having coached the two teams now, the number of players that don't watch the ball in a game of footy is quite amazing. So when we see a guy like McGovern, we tend to think he's quite unique, because he continually just watches the football. And as I said, there is only one ball out there. So if you can get your positioning really, really right, and that's not to say when the ball doesn't flick in the middle and someone get on the burst, you've got to race back to your opponent. But his ability to track the football is as good as... And Rance does that extremely well, and there's a number of really good defenders. Hearn's another one that does that well out there today. Jeremy Howe, it does that extremely well for Collingwood as well. He's going to be a factor also. So the ability just to continually watch the ball is very underrated.
Jody, I'm told the sides that have had success against McGovern don't let him play in front. They just keep from behind. So Main's trying to push him out of the zone that he wants to. And not even to concern yourself with leading. Make sure that at all times, Jeremy McGovern's your absolute focus. And Main, as Roosie said, after quarter time in the first final, he did it really well.
He did, and sometimes it's just holding the space in front of you, like we've seen some of the great players do for Rance in the past. There's also the ability to change angles. Collingwood are at their best when they're moving the ball forward on different angles. If you stay predictable and live long down the line, it doesn't matter how much work Main does, McGovern will be too big and too strong, and he will get involved.
Tyson Goldsack, when I ask you about Roosie, it's one of the incredible stories of the year for me, doing your knee in the last of the practice games, and to be back and have performed as well as he has. Having said that, he got 5 kicked against him last week. He probably got outplayed in the last quarter in the first final. He's had a sleepless night tonight, as there's so much rides on his ability to play on Kennedy, which you think he'll do again. And
it just shows you how important any player on your list is. Suddenly he's come out of absolutely nowhere. And look, there's no doubt, without being disrespectful to Tyson Goldsack, I think he'd admit this himself. If Lyndon Dunn was available and Reid was available and Darcy Moore was available when he first came back, he's probably not in this team. But what he's been able to do, even though he's getting goals kicked on him, guys, it allows other players to stay in their more natural position. It allows Jeremy Howe not to have to play on a big or Langdon or someone like that. So even though he's actually got some goals kicked against him, don't underestimate the impact that it's had on the rest of the team, because it's a concertina effect. When you lose one moves across, and you end up with 5 or 6 guys that are out of position. The simple fact that he's come back in, Juddy, has meant that 4 or 5 of those other defenders can stay in their natural roles.
But just as Tyson Goldsack's story, Duke, when he did his knee, the surgeon was overseas for 2 weeks, couldn't get it done straight away, did an intensive squat program to build up his quad muscles. Now we've seen him come back in 7 months. It's changed the way people will recover or plan for knee reconstructions, purely out of necessity, not by design. I think that's one of the most fascinating backstories of all these ones we hear today.
Might have discovered something there. Let's get down to ground level. We're expecting over 100,000 at the MCG. Narrowly Meadows, Dr. Rowan White join us for Bob Jane Team Arts. Nez, how is it down there?
It's a bit chilly at the moment. The clouds are coming across the ground. It's been blue skies for the last couple of hours. Had a look at the radar, though. There's not a lot about, so hopefully we will get away with one. A temperature of about 13 degrees and a bit of a breeze going across the ground at the moment. No late changes today, which is great news for those who had clouds over them throughout the week. Shuey, McGovern and Howe. I'll read out the benches in a moment, but I bring in Dr. Rowan White there. Jeremy McGovern, will he be impacted on game day? Because Adam Simpson said he'd probably around 90%. Is that being generous?
I think it might be, Nez, and there's nothing like a grand final to improve your rehabilitation, and McGovern comes in with that hip pointer and insisted by Adam Simpson that it's not a rib injury. So, look, he's going to be sore. The ability for that acceleration, the power, the jumping, the driver muscle, as we call it, in the hip, he'll be limited. He will be sore. Just how sore, I think we'll see in the first quarter, just to see how limited he is.
Do you think he'd be playing today if it wasn't a grand final?
I don't think so. And when you look at McGovern and also Howe, both with coming in with injury clouds, I think if it wasn't a grand final, they may have been having the week off, Nez.
All right, boys, the benches for today. For the West Coast Eagles, Sheed, Venables, Vardy and Cole. And for Collingwood, Treloar, Aish, Stevenson and Sire.
Thanks for that, Nez. Just looking at Jenny Lufton down on the ground, clearing everyone out. We're about to get the ceremonies done. And then you get to that moment in the grand final when this huge crowd, but a lot of them are theatre goers, Duke. They're not necessarily aligned to either club. They've just latched onto a ticket from somewhere. They suddenly realise the game's about to start, and this eerie buzz comes over 100,000 people.
Reliably told we are at full capacity now. The gates are closed. No one else is going to get into the ground. From this moment on, it's 100,000 plus, and there is, as you say, JB, a few corporate tickets here, but there are a lot of black and white fans here as well.
I can see two greats of the Collingwood and West Coast Eagles footy clubs, Tony Shaw and Dean Kemp, out in the middle. They're about to have the Premiership Cup brought out to them. Josh Gibson will have that in his hands. Had a lot to do this week, Gibbo, three-time Premiership star, of course, of the Hawthorn Footy Club. But those two men, Norm Smith medal winners in grand finals for Collingwood and West Coast Eagles. So, proud moment for them.
JB, can I ask you a question? So, you're the recent president. How many tickets should be available for the competing team?
Should be or are?
Should be.
For me, it should be 40 each.
So it should be 40-40.
Yep. 40-40, and then the other 20 go to the corporate theatre goers.
Yep. And what's the mix at the moment?
It's much more like 20-20.
Yeah.
And then you do your best. There'll be a lot more than 20-20 here, because Collingwood fans have begged, borrowed and stealed and managed to achieve it somehow. But through the club, it's about that. I could be giving or taking a few thousand, but it's nowhere near enough in my view.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The game, the prelims are electric because of that, and the grand final misses just a little trick. All right, Hamish McLaughlin getting ready.
Great news, JB. There are no changes to either side heading into this grand final. It's been an interesting build-up. We haven't had the normal discussion around someone who may miss out late. Both sides are going to go in as named. We've got Tony Shaw and Dean Kemp, as JB pointed out, two of the greats of the West Coast Eagles and Collingwood football clubs. And that eerie silence, both sides lined up. Here we go.
The Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners of the land we gather on today, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge we play our game on this land and respect the cultures of all First Peoples, their contribution to our nation and to the game of Australian rules football. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Premiership Cup Ambassador Josh Gibson. Would you now welcome our Cup legends, Dean Kemp from the West Coast Eagles and Tony Shaw from the Collingwood Football Club. May the best team win. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding and join with Mahalia Barnes to sing the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are water. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Nicely done. Adam Simpson gets around the umpires. Nathan Buckley will do the same thing. The two coaches will come together, which is a nice touch. Played a lot of footy against each other, of course, over the journey. So we're nearly ready to go. Everything gets carted off. And we've just got the players, the umpires, and Roosie, the thing you spoke about, the red leather Sharon, and we're on.
Yeah, it's exciting time, isn't it? This is the thing, Juddy. Now, captain getting in, talking to the players. What do you think the message is for? I mean, you've done it yourself.
They'll be coming back to 2 or 3 major focus points that they want to concentrate on, and none of the players will hear any of it. They'll be that ready to go, and almost a lot of them will feel a sense of relief now that they can finally get into it. They don't need to deal with any of the internal noise that's been going on in their own mind. They can just get here and have a crack at it. So that's how they'll be feeling now.
Shannon Hearn making his way into the middle. Scott Pendlebury not far away. We'll have the toss of the coin.
Just wonder whether Shannon Hearn might go back on Jordan De Goey at some stage, JB, where they'll take him all the way back to fullback.
I'll introduce you to Scott. Renee, Scott, good luck, mate. Thanks. Okay, now turn around and we'll face the camera. Come here. Scotty, your call, mate, okay? Tails it is.
West Coast win it and are kicking to the city end. So we're not far away now, the last moments of preparation before the big dance gets underway. Tight huddles, certainly the West Coast Eagles already. And now Collingwood get into theirs. And
Bruce, have you done more homework this week on Mason Cox if you're the coach of the West Coast Eagles, Adam Simpson?
Well, you only have to look at last week's tape on how not to play.
Yeah.
So that's... Look, and I think the strength of McGovern, the strength of Barras is getting body in, getting up and marking the footy. And I like defenders who actually try to mark the ball because their mindset is very different to a defender that tries to spoil all the time. They're putting themselves, they're aware of the early body work on their running and jumping. So they're well equipped. I mean, you just can't give Mason a run-up. And I reckon if you do that and play from behind, that's when you might get those tunnelling free kicks against him because once he gets up there, there's no chopping the arms, there's no hands in the back. It's very, very hard to stop him.
You can almost see the hearts pounding out of the chest there, Jay. There's a great tight shot of the players in that last huddle, and their heart rate's just bursting at the moment. That nervous energy ready to explode. We're 18 seconds away from the first bounce.
You just can't replicate it, can you? No amount of match practice and even no other game of football in your life will replicate the amount of energy going through your system now.
Chris Judd, Paul Roos, the two men in the back row. We've got the C-Bus Super Special comments. Narrowly Meadows at ground level.
Adam Treloar will miss his opening bounce. He's gone into the room. It's just a bathroom break, though, I think, boys. A bit.
Thank you, Nez. So we'll get this grand final underway. 2018, the West Coast Eagles and the Magpies. Here's James Brayshaw.
Matt Stevic with the ball in hand. It's a good bounce and we're underway. Work to the ground, Pendlebury, and then over the top is Grundy, and he's in a bit of strife, I reckon. No, given the benefit of the doubt, and we'll have another ball up.
Side bottom starter off the back of the square. JB now looks like he's going a traditional wing.
Work to Hutchings. In fact, it was Cripps focus on the footy and then was beset upon. And again, we'll have a stoppage. Centre of the G.
Yeah, it looks like Hutchings has gone to him too, Juddy.
Yeah.
So the same tag after about quarter time in the first final. Greenwood tried to hack it forward. It was partially smothered. Coming through Shuey. Hard ball to be won at ground level. That's Phillips at the bottom of that. They're appealing for holding the footy. And the West Coast Eagles get the first one. Shuey just pops up and he's away. Drives in the Kennedy direction inside 50. Oh, Kennedy, nice start in front of Goldsack. beautiful delivery, good hands, and the ideal start for the West Coast Eagles.
Just perfect. He didn't muck around, did he, Luke Shuey, in the centre of the ground, and I think there's a time to just do the simple things well. It's at the start of the game. Bang it in well, give your forward a one-on-one contest. Great start to West Coast.
Josh Kennedy was goalless in the 2015 Grand Final. This would be an ideal start. Kicked 2 goals for against the Magpies in the qualifying final. Kicked 4 straight last week. For the first goal of the Grand Final, Kennedy's got it just to the near side and a minor score.
Jeez.
Triple MIJ liquor scoreboard. It's the West Coast Eagles with a behind.
Yeah, both teams' coaches will be looking for a hard start. So good start, good tackle there by Shuey on Phillips. Really hurt Phillips too. He got up slowly, which allowed Shuey to play on, Juddy.
Now short to Crisp. And he sticks it wide. Hoskin Elliott, nicely done. Read the flight of the ball. It just dipped on him a bit. Now he goes 45 style. And there's the float in from the side from Yo. The hands weren't overly clean. Duggan went without. Thomas tried to come through. Main shoveled a handball back. The pig Greenwood to half forward. Varco tracking it back. Hearn straight to DeGoey. DeGoey socket the ball, didn't travel the distance. Myercheck gets pounded, holding the ball.
Yeah, great tackle. Gee, it was a good, important tackle too. I can't see who was that.
Redden, I think it was, Roosie.
He's had a great season too, hasn't he?
Had a big final series too. He's had 63 disposals in the 2 finals, taken 25 marks. And a big role to play. That kick's a little short and well read. Langdon's going to send this one back inside 50 for the Magpies. They're attacking to the punt road end. A lot of numbers back as you would expect. McGovern. Here comes big Mason Cox and McGovern in front. That's a nice intercept mark from the intercept mark specialist.
Jeez, how sweet are those hands? The ball just plopped in there. Goes to the outer side. Number of players in the air. Langdon can pick it up at ground level for the Maggies. He get then taken in a tackle. Howe, a high ball forward. Going to land on 50. Schofield with an attempted fist. He got blocked. And we'll get a free half back.
It's a strange decision by the umpire, JB, to call that a block. I think Varco's just holding his ground and maybe took his eyes off the ball.
So, Will Schofield laid into this team. He's just got to go long down the line. It's all being played on the outer side of the ground. Darling doesn't get to the footy. Grundy sees it out for a throw-in, outer side wing. 1 point West Coast, Collingwood haven't scored.
And Schofield back on DeGoey, so it's probably a little bit of a surprise, having only came in a couple of weeks ago for Shepherd, playing on their most dangerous forward.
Slap forward by Shuey. Redden's had a fair bit of early footy. Lacroix, good hands. Took it really nicely in front of the pack. He wants to get moving quickly. Liam Ryan's out the back. Can he get a launch at it? Goldsack, front and centre ball now. Kennedy, can he pick it up? Well done, Goldsack. Has he dragged it back under 30 metres out? Play on's the call from the umpire. Magpies having to really defend with some intent. Ryan's been tackled, picked up by Howe. And now Phillips can get it out of defensive 50. Looking for Myercheck. Couldn't quite get there. It's going to be a boundary thrown. 60 out from the West Coast goal.
You can see how important those wings are. Phillips covers an enormous amount of ground. He's the guy that gets that handball receive out the back and connects with his forwards.
Boundary throw in, 60 from home. Lysette, Grundy to the front. Pendlebury, beautiful releasing handball for side bottom. Now Adams picks a short target and gets Trav Varco nicely on the wing. Varco on the 45, nicely back to Pendlebury in all sorts of room. Horrible sack kick to half forward, might actually work. Varco came streaming back, 45 and closing, and he kicks the first of the grand final.
Well, really poor from Shannon Hearn there, really poor. Now, he was a bloke on the mark, and Varco chipped it to Pendles. Pendles probably the worst kick he's ever done, JB, in his career. And Hearn just let him waltz around him, didn't pick him up, and Varco followed that ball up and kicked the goal. Well done, Varco, great start, but poor by Shannon Hearn.
Got his system Maggie written on his arm, JB, so it'll be an emotional day for him. And that's sort of the ball use that you'd want from the Magpies. They didn't bomb it long, they lowered their eyes, and you take the intercept mark players out of action when you carry the ball like that.
Something fitting about that. Varco kicks the first goal of the grand final. As Juddy said, his sister Maggie, written in bold print on his arm. She tragically died last month, and what a time it has been for the Varco family. So the Magpies strike first here. 2018 grand final, back in the centre, Lysette. footy to be won. He gets a little handball to Cripps. Sheed missed the target. Missed a handball by a metre. Now Jetta's got to go back. Nervous moments for the West Coast Eagles. The Pies surging inside 50. It's been pinned in, and no prior opportunity is the call. And it will be a thrown up ball inside forward 50. Andrew Gaff, Nick Nananui looking on.
Ball up. Spiked out of there. Into the path of Stevenson. Then Treloar. Back to Main. Back to Treloar. Centre of the G. High ball inside 50. Cox in a wrestle. Barris did really well.
Yeah, he did. He really did well then. That's the sort of stuff that he's going to have to do. Early body work and then just release off into the drop zone.
Tom Barris, little left footer. Works, and Dom Sheed's got it half back. Not a lot of sizzling ball movement yet from the West Coast Eagles. They're methodical. And long down the line, out of side. Darling and Kennedy, it was a big fly, but couldn't reel it in. Main back. Langdon got it from Goldsack and then set a high one. High and wide. Lots of players in the air. Cox one of them, and big defensive fist, and the big man's down.
That's a win by Collingwood there, JB, to be able to get that repeat entry. That West Coast aren't getting their uncontested mark game going, which is really important in these early phases of the game.
He's got up a little sore there, big Mason Cox. Might have copped an errant elbow to the head, but he put his body on the line then, the big fella. Jetta, dispossessed, picked up by Marston back there. The Pies have been good at winning this ball and sending it back inside 50, but up steps Kennedy. No mark's been paid. Goldsack got him. Incorrect disposal. Umpire said play on. Cripps tackled by Treloar, and that's another good win for the Magpies. They keep it in their forward half of the ground, and the repeat forward entry has been a nice factor so far, Jody, for the Pies.
Absolutely, and Greenwood and Yeo, just there's plenty of niggle in that, so we'll keep an eye on that as that unfolds. Plenty of tempers about to explode.
How's that not a mark, by the way? Ball bashed off two sets of hands, picked up by Rioli, dribbled it towards Kennedy, who gets it just inside the field of play. Got a little left footer to it. Goldsack, a little fumble. Main went and got it. Triangle handball. Ended up with Maynard, who goes all the way back and finds Howe in some space across half back.
You can already see how Collingwood's really slick handballs troubling the Eagles, just getting it out of those congested areas.
Side bottom called to go, and does so. Gets around Hutchings a little too easily. Goes into the centre, not a great ball, and McGovern chops it out easily.
Second intercept mark for Jeremy McGovern. He's a big presence. Already a three-time All-Australian, just over 100 games he's played. No sign that he is carrying an injury that's going to prevent him from having a big impact in this grand final. Hearn buys a little bit of space and time, sends it down the line. Chris Main's had a bit of a two-man early.
Yeah, Bosch Tool stats, 5 touches coming up.
It's interesting the different game styles. 15 handball receives to 2 for West Coast, and they just haven't been able to get their kicking game going, and that was perhaps the game plan concern coming in for the Eagles. If they can't get that chip mark game going, how are they going to get the ball from one end of the ground to the other?
Couple of legends of the game. Paul Roos, Chris Judd, Triple M, Seabus Super special comments. Seabus Super with insurances that protect building and construction workers.
Sheed with a little one. Gets past Venables. Langdon's hands were good. To Adams. Hoskin Elliott's just got it hoisted high. I reckon that's a touch ball. So Yeo ended up winning it, but had to go straight away. He pounded it on the left into the path of Shuey. Shuey, boot to ball. Kennedy gets out the back. If it sits, it doesn't. And we'll get down to you, Nez.
Mason Cox has just come off. He's troubled by his eye. He's just needed some treatment from the doctor. They checked his eye socket, looks like, Doc.
Yeah, the doctor's checking the cheekbone and the eye, but Mason doesn't look too happy at the moment. Got a bit of a red eye, Nez.
Bob Jones, T-Mart's tyre and wheel specialist down there.
Deep in attack, the West Coast Eagles. Brody Grundy taken by Lacroix off the side of the boot. Might land in Venables' lap. He was crashed into by his own man, Kennedy. And so they mucked it up big time, and the Magpies, via Phillips, get it to centre wing. And Jordan De Goey steps up, takes the mark. Quick movement from him. Running hard, Pendlebury back with the fly to the footy. Barris back there. They keep it in. It's going to favour the Magpies. Phillips picks it up. Looked like a free kick maybe to the West Coast. Ignored out there, and look at the hands. Beautifully done. Taylor Adams on the forward 50. Did they miss one back there, Roosie?
Well, they missed a free kick, but it was a big moment for the Eagles the other end.
Here comes Stevenson, the young man who won the Rising Star. First kick towards goal. Jaden Stevenson, take a bow, young man. The Magpies kick the first 2, and they have started this grand final in fine style. They're 2 straight 12. The West Coast one behind. That's your Triple M IJ Liquor scoreboard.
Well, the big moments, Juddy, are all going Collingwood, and that's reflective of the Darling one in 2015. Kennedy just ran straight into, was it Venables? It was an easy goal from 15 metres out.
The 2-goal turnaround, isn't it, to see Collingwood go down the other end and get one, a brilliant left foot snap, but the uncontested possession so far, Collingwood 29, West Coast 9. Driving into the game this morning, that's the area of the game you expected West Coast to dominate, but so far it's Collingwood getting all the uncontested ball.
Cox back on the ground, straight into the ruck, 2 straight Collingwood. West Coast just the one behind. That's not a great bounce, so they'll redo it. Let's see what sort of work they put into big Mason Cox. They got a live kill here in the ruck. He works it to ground. Vardy went and got it. Sheed's hands good. Yo. Inside 50, Tumbler. Darling, haven't seen much of him as yet. Gets rid of his direct opponent, Howe, but then can't get boot to ball, and he's gone holding the ball.
Well played, Jeremy Howe. Had some ankle concerns, as predicted by Chris Judd last week. But he's got through okay.
Yeah, a little, very low-grade syndesmosis, I believe it was, Duke, but great to see him out there today.
Sends this one, southern stand wing side again, big Mason Cox. Fumbled a bit of a marking opportunity out there. Trying to get down low and hard is Vardy, the big ruckman. Umpire letting this go a long time, and eventually it came out, ricocheted off the boot of Red and back towards the wing, and the Pies again have come up with a big play, and they're away via Treloar.
They're bringing the heat. Cole's got work to do, and he had a really nervous moment. Stevenson got rid of him. Now he's off to the races. 2 in a row for Stevenson. 3 in a row, Collingwood.
Wow.
What about this start for the black and white? Triple MI Liquor scoreboard.
Well, if you thought there were any scars from the last grand final, maybe they weren't, but there are now, because we've seen Darling Kennedy run straight into Venables, and we've seen Cole drop an absolute sitter, Juddy.
And you can't win a grand final in the first quarter, Duke, but you can lose it. And that's what West Coast to be concerned about now. They need to settle in the next 5 or 10 minutes, otherwise they're going to put their grand final chances at jeopardy.
Yeah, Bosch Tools. So the Eagles average 22 uncontested marks per quarter. They've only taken 4 for the game to date, and Langdon leading ball win on the ground, 6 disposals, 1 intercept mark.
Jaden Stevenson, what about this? First teenager to kick 36 goals in a season since Chris Grant did it in 1990. He's come out roosie and kicked 2 goals with his first 2 kicks.
Well, I tell you what, Cole dropping that mark, knowing he's playing probably on the quickest bloke in the AFL, would have been really nervous.
The Eagles get the centre clearance. Maynard couldn't quite get the mark. Howe back there. He might have copped a high one. Umpire said no, we're going to toss that one up. The West Coast Eagles get a bit of field position here. They're inside their forward 50, but it's 3 straight 18, the Magpies, 1 behind West Coast.
Got to hit the scoreboard. It comes to the back via Cox. Redden's a good player. Off a step, he might have pulled it left. Vardy's parked down there, unable to take it. Stayed in play the ball. Darling went and found it. Back to Vardy, the big man. Snap. Ryan in good shape for the Eagles. A defensive fist arrived late from Maine, who's playing nice footy.
Stayed in play, but it hit the umpire, didn't it, Duke? Just checking the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay. So surely common sense could have prevailed there and called it out of bounds.
Again, another big moment, though. Vardy had an open jetter, I think it was, with a little 15-metre kick, which would have been an easy shot at goal. They're just missing these big moments, the Eagles.
Cox in front. It's the West Coast inside forward 50. The umpire has said that one is going to come back to me. The Chemist Warehouse replay. Chemist Warehouse home to big savings every day. I'd like to see another look at that, Jade. It ricocheted off the boundary, umpire back into play. Sheed wrapped up again, and it will be thrown up 20 metres out. City end of the MCG. The Eagles are deep in attack, but they trail by 17 points.
The question was around whether the Pies were going to bring the heat. I think that's been answered. They've been exceptional. Treloar went to ground, taken out of it. Redden over the top. No one able to be clean. In fact, it was Yo, and the ball is going to be thrown up, 20 out. West Coast goal, City end. Bright sunshine, MCG. Umpire throws it up. Treloar, brilliantly done. Got it to Crisp. Releasing kick down the line. Barristers does this so well. Got rid of Myercheck, took an intercept mark. And they can go back in again. High ball forward. Looks like thousands of players in the air. Vardy was unable to hang on. Exiting Adams. Now Hearn's got work to do. Stevenson, we know the speed he's got. Hearn's got to control this footy somehow and allow the cavalry to arrive. They're all wearing black and white jumpers. Look at the pick up from Phillips. Magnificent run-down tackle from McGovern.
It's the important tackle. Another goal would have been almost catastrophic for the Eagles. So just the tackle pressure, JB, you mentioned. I mean, they've been fantastic, the Pies, around the footy. They're plus, what are they, two-man in tackles?
Yeah,
16-11.
+5.
Yep.
Big play, Jeremy McGovern. Paul Roos said another goal at early stage of this grand final, 16-minute mark, but felt like that would have been a massive moment. The Eagles now trying to get a bit of control. They do like to maintain possession, Juddy. They're happy to do a bit of this.
Yeah, they were just trying to control the play and just try and slow the play down because it's been a frenetic pace and Collingwood coming out on the right side of it.
Shannon Hearn, the most effective kick in the game, has turned it over badly to Myercheck. Flicks a handball over the top. Hoskin Elliott, he can give it on to Thomas, who's kicked a lot of goals this year. Short ball, partially smothered, picked up by De Goey. Walters through a couple of tackles. De Goey, De Goey! 4 straight, the Magpies! And that is a devastating blow. Early stages of the grand final with the Collingwood Army right up and about. 4 straight 24, 1 behind West Coast. Triple M IGA liquor scoreboard.
Well, Collingwood set up their defence really well, Juddy. You can tell from the first moment when someone had a free kick in the back pocket, they've put some width on their defence. They're happy to sort of almost expose the corridor. But by doing that, they've taken away the kicking game completely.
It's been brilliant, and it was West Coast forward line that had everyone worried at the start of the game, but it's Collingwood's forward line which is looking the dominant one at this stage. They've moved Jaden Stevenson into the role they call the striker role, which is the forward they keep extra deep, and every time the ball goes forward, his leg speed looks like it's going to be a real issue.
Bosch Tools, Collingwood's pressure rating 235, AFL average 181.
Out of the middle, held. Chewy, I thought, no free for him. Sire was able to get a handball, just missed the target. Sheed now. Marston and then Jetta on the run, long ball in the Kennedy direction, 1 out with Goldsack, who gets a big defensive thump on the ball. Aish went and found it. Out of play, the ball down to Nez.
So many Collingwood players are coming off for a break that not all of them can actually go through the interchange, much like we saw against Richmond in the preliminary final. They are working so much harder at the moment and it shows. They are exhausted already.
4 straight goals to start this grand final. The Magpies, when I ask Paul Roos in a moment, the try and hang on in this quarter of the West Coast. They get a chance inside forward 50. Now a chance for Liam Ryan. Haven't caught his name at all yet. Chris back there defending the Magpies. Almost a half a throw. Main back there. And a free kick goes Collingwood's way. Roosie, are you thinking about a loose man? Are you trying to hang on if you're West Coast, or do you just get going?
You have to be, because they're getting smashed around the ball. How quickly the Collingwood exit stoppage both ways. They're just working so much harder, as Nez said, as they come over. You can see it visually. Collingwood are working so much harder through the middle of the ground.
Sheed, a little kick forward. Redden slid in. Tried to find a teammate with a handball. Was unable to do that. Main had it taken out of his hands. Treloar. Adams, I should say, playing a very nice game of footy. Controlled that beautifully to side bottom. Long ball now. Stevenson. What about the start this man's had? All sorts of room. Comes in board with a left foot ball. Doesn't work. Schofield takes a sliding mark.
You see how slow the game is when the Eagles get it and how fast it is when Collingwood get it. It's a dramatic difference at the moment.
Real contrast in styles it is, as he pointed out. And this is what the West Coast do. They become methodical. They try and maintain the footy. Shannon Hearn back there. He's already had a nervous moment. Barris. And then they transfer it back out southern stand wing side.
They're not going forward with it, Duke, though, are they? It's slow or sideways. They're still finding it hard to gain ground with this uncontested ball movement.
Well, you look how wide now, Juddy. Phillips is all the way out here on our side of the ground on McGovern. Yeah. So there's nowhere from to chip the ball around, really.
There's a better kick from Sheed. He managed to pierce it through to Redden. We're on the wing, southern stand side, and they link up via Kennedy, but he's a long way from home, Josh Kennedy. Still 2 big kicks from goal.
There's one of them. Looking for Darling, can't find him. Myercheck able to take an uncontested mark. How do you do that? 15 from home. And he just pounds it back the same direction. Barris, a big defensive fist. Sire went through without the footy. Good handball, finds Sheed. Sheed, the left foot ball. Ryan has to punch from the back. Through came Rioli. Stripped of the footy and gone holding the ball.
Advantage is going to be paid to Phillips. He's coming back the members' wing, and there's absolutely nothing on offer. And then he's popped a little handball over the top. Wanted Pendlebury. This one might come unstuck. Rioli picks it up. Gets it back to Marston. Now Jetta sets sail from the boundary line. Miraculous attempt, and it's just a little short, a little narrow. And the West Coast Eagles get another behind. Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard. Stock up for the footy season at IGA Liquor. Head to igaliquor.com.au to find your nearest store. It's 4 straight 24 to 2 behinds in the grand final.
Cox extends high, brings the footy to ground beautifully for Varco. Wants to go to come at him, and he does. Jordan to go on the wing. Inboard, beautiful ball. Hoskin Elliott, centre of the MCG. Got Main sideways, uses him.
Good choice to slow that down, JB. He looked up ahead. Eagles had them outnumbered in Collingwood's forward 9, and Jeremy McGovern looming large, so smart play to slow it down.
Back to Aish. So they just control things now through the centre of the ground, the Maggies. 4 straight to 2 points. This one gets to Langdon. Handball over the top. Adams outside 50, lowers the eyes. Hoskin Elliott, good mark.
Let it go. No, let it go, okay? Just here, thank you.
So he's tucked hard against the boundary line, right forward pocket, punt road end. We'll get a set shot look at it. And this might just sum up Collingwood's day. If he can slot this from this angle and make it 5 straight and give him a 28-point lead, look out. Hoskin Elliott's kick. He loves it. He loves it. They are fully taking the piss, Collingwood. 5 straight 30 to 2 points on the IGA Liquor scoreboard.
And sometimes it just purely and simply comes down to work rate. And they're just outworking them at the moment. They're spread from offensive contest, defensive contest. They're just completely outworking the Eagles, Juddy.
The Eagles' key playmakers just aren't getting involved. What's Elliot Yeo had, Two-Man?
He had 2 touches last time against Collingwood. He had 36.
So the Pig Greenwood doing a job on him. Shannon Hearns had a nervous moment. This is when you really need your leaders to stand up. Shuey, Two-Man, I don't think he's had a lot of the ball yet either.
Only 4 touches.
And there's some of the players West Coast really need to get their hands on the ball now just to stop this momentum.
All of a sudden, the quarter-time siren cannot come quick enough if you're Adam Simpson. 22 minutes into this grand final. It's 5 straight, the Magpies. They lead it by 28 points. Side bottom up the back of the square. Rioli wrapped him up. And it spills out again. Sire tumbles one to half forward, but the Eagles are back there, and Cole can release the kick to McGovern at half back.
Duggan now. Little one just works to Shuey. Tried to get the handball on the up to Duggan, was unable to do so. Langdon got back onto the footy nicely. Cripps walks away with it now. Has a bounce down the wing. Got a player on long in Rioli. Huge big climb but couldn't hang on. So huge my voice nearly exploded. Handball over the top to Langdon. Now they've got some composure back there, Collingwood.
And composure when you mentioned Scotty Pendlebury's name. Treloar took a beautiful one-hander. Members side, centre wing. And at the moment, Chris Chard, everything that you would want to go right for the Magpies is going right.
All the critical contests, all the 50-50s, they're going Collingwood's way.
Crisp little short one, didn't quite find Varco. And so a chance just to draw breath for the Eagles. Boundary throw-in. Members side, centre wing. Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Adam Simpson, fairly composed individual, Roosie, but his heart rate would be pumping at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd be really, really worried. They've taken away their uncontested marks, and they've got no way else to move the ball.
3 minutes to go. Barris has got work to do. He's just got to hit that high on the left. That's gone about 1.5 metres. Cox tried to get it to Varco. He did in the end. Varco's handball missed the target. McGovern can come away, but he was taken in a tackle. Barris, a little one. Side bottom, a play on the foot. He couldn't hang on. And the football is out.
It's interesting. I mean, watching it visually, isn't it? Like, there's 3 quarters to go, but they look like a beaten team, the Eagles. They just look, heads are down, McGovern mistake, Hearn mistake. They almost look beaten already.
There's your Triple M Seabus Super Special comments. Paul Roos, Chris Chard, Shuey hasn't found a lot of the footy. This time he jams it down the line. Darling, Howe played it well. Goldsack got back first. Clever little handball to Langdon was the right play. Tumbling ball down the wing. Side bottom can't keep it in. We've got a boundary throw in right in front of Nez and the dock down there.
McDonald's, by the way, Duke Any Peel can be a winner with the Monopoly game. Now back at Macca's. Full terms and maccasplay.com.au.
5 straight 30, the Magpies, 2 behinds the West Coast Eagles. Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard.
Sire, beautifully done. This man's already on fire. Adams, long ball inside 50, some wrestling, some holding. Myercheck off the ground, misses.
Oh, if that goes through, we're going home, JB.
Just been all one way. And this much vaunted West Coast forward half, they just don't look dangerous when it goes in there.
Well, the metres gained at Collingwood are plus 550. So the different game styles at the moment, long way to go, but at the moment Collingwood's are stacking up and West Coast is not.
2 minutes and 26 seconds until quarter time. The Eagles are goalless in the grand final in the first quarter. Cole links up at half-back, kick to the wing, looks pretty good off the boot. Getting back Hoskin Elliott made it difficult for Schofield. Time enough to go back. Jetta now with a bit of space and time. Kick over the head of Cripps, going to go back. Grundy came at him. Vardy's got to play on the footy now. Awkward looking left footer. Going back courageously, Langdon. Goldsat now comes in to lend support. Right on the defensive 50. Aish's kick has turned it over. And Lewis Jetta looks up and he's going to send this one deep into attack.
Got to make something of one of these forward thrusts. Long ball. Kennedy in from the side. Yo. Dangerous fist. They should concede here. Was that off the boot? Was that off the boot of Rioli? Let's have a listen.
Right, take your time. Okay, let me have it.
I believe it's a goal. Just like you check the attacker, kicked it across the line.
Thank you. Score review. Umpire's call is a goal. Please check to see that it was touched.
We're calling it, Duke.
Coach High score review we're seeing.
It's hit his leg, hasn't it? Yeah, it's a goal. Geez, a lucky goal, isn't it? That's something they needed, so...
It's there. Weird ass way of getting it, but they got there first. 1-2-8 West Coast, 5-1-31 Collingwood, Triple M IJ Liquor score.
It's not the ideal way they would have planned to get their score source, JB, from an accidental kick over the line, but they'll take it anything at this stage just to settle their nerves. Like Roosie touched on, it's the body language at this stage which would be as much a concern as anything for Adam Simpson. All the high-speed running, all the really intense efforts seem to be coming from Collingwood, so maybe that can be the circuit breaker that West Coast needed.
It's the voice of Chris Judd, the Triple M Seabus Super Special Comments team, alongside Paul Roos, Seabus Super, insurances that protect the building and construction workers. First goal to the Eagles, Willie Rioli. Nez, what can you tell us down there?
Jack Darling getting a fair bit of work done on his right hamstring, and Liam Ryan on his calf muscle on the bench at the moment.
Nerily Meadows in the dock, thanks to Bob Jane T-Mart. Centre bounce, Grundy crashes in. He hasn't had a huge impact so far, true man.
Yeah, he's statless at the moment in terms of hit-outs. It's 7-all between he and Lysette.
There's a free, picked out, it's going West Coast way, so some moments late maybe for them.
They're just getting in really early with their body contact on Brodie Grundy at those stoppages.
Long ball for Kennedy. They triple team him in the air. Hoskin Elliott's got to go and track it. Hutchings is out there as well. That's a look at deliberate and not called.
It's going to be really important for the other West Coast Eagles forwards to get to the fall of Kennedy's feet, because you've got Howe coming across, you've got Langdon coming across. There's going to be some opportunity at ground level from some of those small forwards if they can get in quickly.
55 from home. This ball's going to be thrown in. Late stages, first term. And there's another free. And it's going to Shuey for a hold. Wants to release quickly to Kennedy. The ball's good and he doesn't hang on. Yes, he does. It's been paid to Mark.
Bring it back yours. No. Mark paid it. Just hit.
So the big man who missed a pretty gettable set shot early can go back and make it 2 in a row.
He's been good, Kennedy. Some of his pressure, some of his tackles, his contests, he's probably been their best player. No, he hasn't got a heap of the ball tune, man. What's he got? He's only had the 3, but he's been working really hard.
This has got to go through. And it does. This is a nice response from the West Coast Eagles. After Collingwood put 5 in a row on them. 2-2-14, 5-1-31, Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard.
A big response from Kennedy, wasn't it? And started with a stoppage win or a free kick at the stoppage from Luke Shuey, who's lifted his output as well. He's now had 7 disposals and 4 clearances. But that's what Adam Simpson needed to happen. He needed to see something from his leaders. Shuey in the middle, Kennedy up forward. When they go quick from the stoppages in that instance and they get one-on-ones, Kennedy and Darling are going to look dangerous all day.
And I think they're going to have to win stoppages, Johnny, because their ball use from down back's been not horrible. Collingwood's defence has been too good. So they're going to have to start winning, which they are winning their clearances, but they're going to have to go quick from clearances to give their forwards a chance and win them.
Couple of late goals, the West Coast Eagles, 43 seconds until quarter time. Yo squeezes a handball. He wanted Lysette. Magpies do well to hold this one up. Rioli in there, umpire letting it go a long time. Lysette fighting hard. Still the umpire calls play on. Bit happening off the footy.
Jeez.
Taylor Adams and Willie Rioli.
Yeah.
Bit going on.
Get off him.
And the umpire saying, get off him. Let's toss this one up. 27 seconds now till quarter time. It was almost getting out of hand for the West Coast Eagles. As Juddy said, it has been an admirable effort kicked the last 2 goals. It's back to a 17-point Collingwood lead. We're 21 seconds from quarter time.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of heat after this siren sounds, Duke.
Kicked out of the hands of Shuey. Crisp. Little massage at Myercheck, who went to ground without the ball. Main came through. Duggan got a little piece. And the ball is going to be held up. So we've got 7 odd seconds left. It's a little bit on delay, that screen. About 5 seconds left. So it'd have to be a quick clearance and a mark here for Collingwood, the only ones that can score. It's pounded inside 50. Myercheck gets taken out of it. There's the siren. What about that for a first term in a grand final? Collingwood 5 in a row. It was a blitz. And then a measured and necessary response from the West Coast Eagles. 2-2-14. It is 31-14 on the IGA Liquor scoreboard, by the way. Stock up for the footy season at IGA Liquor. IGA Liquor. Head to igaliquor.com.au to find your nearest store. Chris Judd, Paul Roos when we come back. Luke Darcy, Nez and Doc down on the boundary. And Ash Chua is from McDonald's. Triple M rocks the grand final.
An electrifying start to the 2018 grand final. It's the Magpies by 17 points at quarter time. 5-1-31. The West Coast Eagles 2-2-14. Paul Roos, Chris Judd.
Yeah, well, I think they smashed them early with their handball out of stoppages and handball out of congestion. And so game style versus game style, Juddy, it looks like it's in Collingwood's favour. Having said that, when your better players start getting hold of the ball and you win from stoppage and go forward quickly into a dangerous forward line, that's how West Coast got back into the game.
It's the only time they're able to move the ball quickly, isn't it, when they win the ball at stoppage? Still some of their key movers would want to get their hands on the ball a bit more. We've spoken about Elliot Yeo. Only had the 3 touches. Greenwood doing a job on him. Whether it's time to even send him to side bottom to ask Nathan Buckley the question, or moving to half back, he's too good a player to have 3 touches in a quarter of football.
Yeah, it certainly hurts their midfield, doesn't it? I mean, the 30 of recent times, he's your 30-plus possession midfielder that can mark at both ends and kick goals. So, yeah, that's really hurting the Eagles at the moment.
Nez and Doc, anything down there for Bob Jane?
Jeremy Howe had that left ankle re-strapped at quarter time. That was his troublesome one heading in. The good news for the Eagles, Ryan and Darling are starting this quarter on the ground after getting extensive work at the end of that first quarter.
Ash.
Taylor Adams, JB, number 1 ranked player for Bosch Tools. 8 disposals, a couple of tackles.
It's been very, very good. That's Ash Chua for Bosch. Bosch Power Tools and Accessories, good, better Bosch. Getting ready to start this second term. Look at this weather, by the way, Duke. Everyone thought it was hail and sideways rain. It's absolutely magnificent.
Picture perfect Melbourne day it is. Sunshine cast over the MCG. 100,000 plus for grand final day. And it was a pulsating start to this game. The Magpies threatened to blow this one right out of the water. First 5 goals of the grand final, but a credit to the composure of the West Coast Eagles. 2 late goals has this at a 17-point margin. We're waiting to get this second quarter underway. Lysette did a really nice job on Brodie Grundy in the first quarter. Umpire, perfect bounce. Lysette again beautifully taken by Pendlebury. His kick though just off the side of the boot to the wing. Phillips, well played at the end by Thomas, came through and took clean possession, got it back to Pendlebury, weaved his way through, gives it back to Thomas, steers it inside forward 50. Not sure about that from Cole, just slapped the footy to ground level, opens it up for Taylor Adams, inside forward 50 to City End go the Magpies, and a strong tackle from Hutchings on Stevenson. The umpire says, give it to me.
Even that move forward, Roosie, by Collingwood is quite aggressive, and they're able to move the ball freely, aren't they, with not much pressure.
Yep.
Pendlebury getting involved, hooks it around. Schofield, a defensive fist. Cole over the top. Jetta had to focus on the footy. Through came Yeo, and he's taken out. 50 from home.
Yeah, there's so much slicker around the ball, aren't they? They get it out into space so much quicker because their really short hands are really, really good, and their spread has been fantastic.
Magpies to the City End in this second term, lead by 17 points. Early stages, second term of the Granny. Grundy able to take clean possession, and the snap almost works. Cole, a little handball, not sure it was on. Now Hearn's got to work. Just pounds it down the line. Darling has been unsighted so far in this game of footy. Side bottom went and got it and just stepped past. No, got pushed over. And it's going to be thrown in, Jack Darling, Ash.
Yeah, only 1 handball, and Liam Ryan, he's statless as well.
Chairman Mark Hutchings has got the straight tag on still side bottom. How's that gone?
Yeah, side bottom only 4 possessions. Hutchings 1.
I don't reckon it's as aggressive a shutdown tagging job as we saw in round 17, though, for instance, Duke.
Chris Judd and Paul Roos back there with the Triple MC Bus Super Special comments. Just hearing some light showers coming through the Werribee area. It's about half an hour in the west of the MCG. perfect sunshine at the moment. Treloar, and as Brucey and Juddy said, they step through traffic with ease. They get it out to Maynard, the Magpies, inside forward 50. This kick goes. One-on-one contest. Fisted away from DeGoey. Jetta gets back, almost threw that back out to Barras. Not sure how he did that. Barras' kick under pressure. The pig, Collingwood,
the pig!
Nearly took a ripping mark.
And then didn't. Ball into the hands of Treloar. Here he is, Pig. He gets absolutely pounded into by Ryan. A little one from McGovern, very clever. Nice composure found Kennedy.
Gee, they had a fast play there too, and you can see again, difference in game style. If that's Collingwood coming out of defence, that's already inside your forward 50,
I
but
reckon
Kennedy...
Ryan's in a bit of trouble here. He might have got dinged with that block. He'll get to the line. We'll get to Nez and Doc when they have a good look. This is McGovern, half back. Got Venables just off the ground. Or on the ground even. He goes to Yeo instead, and that's a nice mark. Good one-on-one win for Elliot Yeo against the Pig Greenwood. High ball forward. Kennedy to come back at the footy. Jeez, I thought he had a nice piece of his jumper. Venables able to pick it up. Can't get boot to ball. Cripps then brought it back in. He can't get boot to ball. Geez, they're letting this game go, which we like in a grand final, by the way. Let's get down to you, Doc.
Yeah, Liam Ryan just getting looked at by the Docs. They've got him up. I think he got a knock to the left knee in that impact that we saw. He looks to be moving a little freer, JB. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, you're spot on, Doc. Chemist Warehouse replay screen, exactly what happened. A knee on knee. Venables trying to surge it forward, side bottom. Did really well back there. Speared a handball to Chris, running through defensive 50. Stops and puts it out to Stevenson, but well played out there. Cole took possession, took off. Picked out Lacroix. Awkward ball in the end for Lacroix. He got somersaulted in a tackle. Brilliantly done by Howe. Upended him, and it was all fair, out of bounds. So a thrown-in ball at the punt road end. It's the West Coast Eagles deep in attack.
Super call by the umpire to let that go. Lacroix held his head down for a long time. Really good call to have that play on.
Ball in. Lysette to the back. Shuey handball. Hutchings the snap. Misses. Missed opportunity there for West Coast 2-3-15 to 5-1-31. Triple M Ream scoreboard.
As he keeps pointing out, they are quick to play the ball on the Magpies. Really, they love taking the game on. Yeo's had some trouble early, and he's gone again, Elliot Yeo. Well played, Goldsack. You hear the advantage call. Thomas spears a handball out to Adams, who has had an enormous amount of the footy. Short ball to Treloar was well played. McGovern back there. They're going to have to put some time into him as this kick goes inside forward 50. It's Cox. McGovern. Cox brought it to ground. Barras almost a throw back there. Shuey defensive kick is going to find Jetta. Jetta trying to take on Varco. Gone. Beautifully done, Varco to the goal square. DeGoey trying to get a run on it. Stevenson the other way. Schofield slapped forward to DeGoey. Stevenson gets it back to Phillips. Hearn wraps him up. Managed to somehow get boot to ball. And that is a pretty good result for the Magpies. The boundary throw him about 20 metres around from their city end goal.
Was that Schofield? Great effort. I think he had the goey, and he also went over and spoiled another Collingwood player. So it was a 1v2 that he ended up squaring. It was a great effort.
Louis Jetta, she's a grand final, mate.
Yeah.
Just keep it nice and simple. What the hell? Sheed, end on end, marked by Aish. Well, it's going to come back in. Fair way from home. Sees something he likes. It's Big Mason! Couldn't hang on. Thumped away from him. They've done a good job on Mason Cox. Main, Sire now. Touch. You heard the umpire touch footy, so it's going to be play on. I'm not sure Shannon Hearn actually heard. He was taken in a tackle anyway, ball up.
I don't know. How do we hear it up here and they can't hear it on the ground? I guess
we've got the mic. 39 tackles, Collingwood. West Coast just with the 23. And that's a big part of what's happening in this game so far.
5-1-31, plays 2-3-15. It's the Magpies inside forward 50 with the lead. Phillips tucked up on the boundary line. Fisted over by Cripps. And they will reload again. The Triple M Ream scoreboard. If your hot water needs replacing, accept nothing less than Australia's best. Install a Ream. It is the Magpies by 16 points. And we have played 6 minutes in the second quarter.
Yeah, Cox still statless, so... You just mentioned JB, they've done a great job on him.
Ball on the ground just inside forward 50 here for Collingwood. No one's coming out with it, so ball up. Lysette, Grundy, Sheed, bounce through his hands. No one's able to come away with it again. Eventually they get it out. Marston around the body. There is Darling. Full presentation to the footy out of side, but he can't go quickly. He's got Kennedy one out if he wants to go there. Short ball instead and finds Sheed.
Yeah, they just can't go fast at all from half-back, can they? Every time a player marks it, it just stagnates. And now we're basically gone back from where Darling marked it. Whereas Collingwood, when they get it, they turn and go quickly.
And they had one-on-ones, Roosie.
So I
don't think they should knock back one-on-ones. If they're outnumbered, I understand going slow, but when you see a one-on-one up there, you've got the tall targets, have a crack at it.
Hutchings has got to measure this one. Did it pretty well for Maston.
Yeah, I think they've got to recognise that, Jody. This game style's not going to work today as it did against Melbourne and also against Collingwood round 17.
Darling presented, but then had it fisted away from him. Main went without. Beautifully picked up Crisp. Nice ball, sliced its way through to Thomas. There's a nice bit of forward pressure put on by Shuey. Big tackle. He's going to get it back to Shuey from Lacroix. Short balls, nice to Cripps. Cripps wants to go inside 50. He's got players open. He goes to the fat side of the ground. Kennedy taken out of it brilliantly by Maynard. And now the football goes over with Goldsack, and it'll be thrown in.
Even a bit of hesitation there, Roosie and Jody, from Cripps. It was a quick play opportunity and just not in their instinct to do it, is it?
They just don't want to go fast at all, Dust, do they? It's quite strange to see that they've got a great forward line, but their reluctance to go in nice and quick to them.
31 plays 15, 16-point lead to the Magpies. 8 minutes gone in the second term. Side bottom in defence to Pendlebury. Loops a handball over the top to Treloar, and they just exit that clearance situation with a lot more ease than the West Coast Eagles. And now the Pig Greenwood at half-back.
That's not the style of footy you associate with a grand final, Duke. It's clean, away from a stoppage. Usually it's quick kicks and huge pressure.
With Mason Cox the target down the line, and a free kick's been picked out here at half forward. And Adam Treloar, what a remarkable story. He was 8 weeks out of the game, a couple of hamstring injuries, a surgery. He's found his way back into great form in this final series.
Goes high. Defensive thump away from Myercheck. He goes back and tries to find it. Goes to ground, Myercheck. Picked up by Lysette. Handball to Shuey, worked. The block is pretty good, and again Jetta does some disco dancing. Releases a handball that eventually found its way into the hands of Shuey. That's not a great ball. And the numbers out here all wearing Collingwood jumpers. Howe goes inside 50. High ball and marked by McGovern.
Cox appealing for a free kick. He just can't find access to the footy, the big American, so far in this game. McGovern, that is a better looking kick. Can Sheed get it moving quicker? He pirouettes, he twists, he turns, he looks around. Just indecisive. Duggan, Redden, they steer it out wide to Darling, who's got to compete with Howe. Jack Darling, no impact yet on this grand final. Handballs in front of himself and a boundary thrown. Jack Darling, please, 2-man.
For Bosch Tools, Stars, only 3 possessions, 1 mark and scoreless.
Gee, even then he was in the box seat to take a really easy, sort of half-contested mark and ran himself back under the ball.
Throw in, 50 from home. Grundy, Lysette. Sheed's hands pretty good. Shuey's kicked, smothered. Bouncing dangerously for the West Coast Eagles. There is Darling. Spins out of about 3 tackles, but couldn't spin out of the 4th. Holding the ball.
This is where you wonder if that quiet game that Darling had in 2015, he's had a quiet start to this game. That's when the mental demons will start to appear.
He just looks well off the pace, doesn't he, Juddy? For a grand final, even that, you got no time and space to pirouette and do a little shimmy, etc., etc. He looks well off the mark at the moment.
Main short to side bottom to Brody Grundy. Magpies at half-back. They're on the great southern stand wing side of the MCG. Long ball down the line.
Block, Barras.
Free kick going the way of the West Coast Eagles.
And this is an indication of their game style, Eagles. They've had 17 change from defensive 50 for only 2 inside 50. So it's really hard for them to bring the ball coast to coast with their game style. They have to win stoppages. They have to get re-entries to win this game of football.
Tommy Barras loads up the long bomb. Then we get a big pack mark for the Eagles out the back. The Magpies are well organised in defence off hands. And a boundary throw-in.
So they get another stoppage look inside forward 50, the Eagles. See what they can do with it. Lysette. Grundy. Through comes Elliot Yeo. Handball's just out into green grass. Nicely done from Chris. Got it to side bottom. Good ball to Maynard. And Maynard has it half back. Long ball. Phillips has got himself out the back. Beautiful kick.
Just gave up dangerous space there, did Maston, JB. There's a lot of space over the back. Maston got his positioning wrong.
And Phillips has got Myercheck on short. Goes there eventually. Took a long time to get him. He's just allowed to go by McGovern.
Yeah, McGovern just sitting back, JB. Here he is now coming into this contest.
You go in that region. Cox has got about 4 to beat in the air. Brought it to the front. Redden went and found the footy. Handball to Duggan. Duggan's long left foot ball. Vardy's just come on the ground, takes a nice mark.
He's a nice athlete, his nose Vardy. It was a good mark. Handball missed the target. Main played it well. Chris Main ducked back in. Missed tackle opportunity. I can hear the groans in the back row, Roosie.
Oh, it's terrible by Lacroix.
So now the other way, Adams to the hard-working Myercheck. He's got a target down the line. It was De Goey, but sliding in. Barras has been really strong back there for the West Coast Eagles.
The defence has been exceptional, Das. They've really kept him in this game, haven't they?
Wide to Hutchings from McGovern. Hutchings can stretch away from side bottom and then wants to go with a little one to Cripps. Gets to him on the wing. Cripps comes inboard. Hearn's got to pick up the half volley, go back by hand to Cripps. He goes to half forward, no one home. Howard takes a simple mark in front of Darling.
Jeremy Howard, half-back. Liam Ryan back out there for the West Coast Eagles, which is clearly good news. He needs some spark, West Coast. Down the line, Mason Cox. Out the back, Grundy working really hard. The big ruckman wanting to release the handball here to Pendlebury. Inboard, found Treloar. Now over the top. Can they pick it up and get it to Scott Pendlebury's worked really hard. Being tracked back there by Hearn. He can't keep it in. We'll have a boundary throw him. 35 metres around from the Magpies city end goal. They lead at 5-1-31. The West Coast Eagles 2-3-15. That's on the Triple M Ream scoreboard.
Barras and McGovern, 6 intercept mark. They're keeping them in the game, aren't they, really? Their defence, the Eagles' defence has been outstanding.
This quarter is 14 minutes old and we haven't had a goal. Back to Sire, just inside 50. All the way back now to Crisp. Sits a high one up. McGovern at the back. Myercheck couldn't hang on. Ryan not clean to Jetta. He wasn't clean. Hard out at Varco. Nice and brilliant. Jetta went back and found the footy. Coughed it up again though. Collingwood in number. Look out. Ryan went hard after Maynard. Pounded into him. Maynard still down. Ball up.
There's a huge bump by Ryan on Maynard. That could be the spark that West Coast needs. Sidebottom's coming in to remonstrate. There is nothing illegal about it. Maynard was in the air and he fairly just bumped him right in the chest. Brilliant effort.
Tough boy, Braden Maynard, but he has had the wind completely taken out. You'd be a bit concerned about ribs. We'll get down to Dr. Owen White in a moment. He's very, very sore, Braden Maynard. Appears to be coming straight off the ground. So Liam Ryan with a bit of physical presence. Now at half forward, Treloar tracking the footy, did really well. Got it back to Phillips, wanting Mason Cox. Not a good ball for a 211cm ruckman. It was a half volley. McGovern worked him off it. Oh, well done, Big Mace. Came back, effected a good tackle, and they keep it inside their forward 50. Might get down to Doc. What do you think about Maynard?
Yeah, Maynard, right ribs, but not bad enough for him to have a go at Liam Ryan to go clean him up. Look, he looks to be okay. The Docs are taking a bit of a check. I think he should be okay.
Thrown in ball. Grundy down. Sire just hoisted high. Duggan, well done.
Yeah, great mark. Coming back with a fly of the ball. Fantastic mark by Duggan. Again, defensive Eagles, outstanding.
It's 11 inside 50s West Coast. Only 5 to Collingwood. So you're right, Reese. The intercept marks. Keep him in this game.
Vardy's got to park himself under the footy. It was pounded away from him. Grundy walked into a tackle. Went back and found it with brilliance. And then couldn't quite get the footy to sit in his hands. And we're going to have a ball up. 2-3-15 West Coast, 5-1-31 Collingwood. No goals scored in 16 minutes in this second term for McDonald's. Triple M rocking the grand final. Locked up footy again. Elliot Yeo can't get it out of there, and we'll have a ball up.
The ruckmen have been fantastic. What's Grundy had 3?
Yeah, 3 touches.
Yeah, they've done a great job.
Lysette and Vardy have really gone to work, haven't they, Ruzio? Big Brody Grundy. Yo tried to squeeze a handball underneath Phillips. It couldn't get through, so it'll be thrown back in 65 metres around from the Pies goal. Maynard straight back out there for the Magpies. No ill effects. And Triple M rocking the grand final thanks to Macca's. And Peel can be a winner with the Monopoly game now back at Macca's. Full terms at maccasplay.com.au.
Elliot Yeo
starting to work his way to the game, though, B.
And Darling's taken in a really savage tackle from Jeremy Howe, pounded over the line, ball in.
It's interesting, all the moves have sort of worked. You know, the Hutchins side bottom's going well for West Coast, the Yo Greenwood's going well for Collingwood, and the ruckman we talked about doing a really good job. So coaches both having pretty good days today.
So a hold on Vardy, and he can bring it away. He wants to move it quickly. High ball. Langdon parked under the footy. Took a really good mark. He had players coming from all directions, swirling.
I don't know how far Darling thinks that Vardy can kick the ball, but he was 80 metres away from that kick.
Good centering ball to Stevenson. Gets it to De Goey, streaming through the G. Long ball forward. It's now a foot race. Myercheck getting back there. Schofield with him. And as Paul Roos said, they have defended so well. Ball over the line for a behind.
A little lead-up kick there, Roosie. To go, he had Treloar coming at him and decided to go the long one to the square.
I think they're backing their pace, aren't they, inside 50? You probably misinterpreted what was in front of him there because it was Myercheck versus about 3 Eagles players. But that's when the go fast of Collingwood backing their forward line.
Now Duggan sends a long ball down the line. Cripps the intended target. How? Oh, beautifully done at half-back. He has completely blanketed.
Darling's just not reading the play at all.
He looks listless out there, Jack Darling.
Yep.
No impact at all so far. This ball's on the southern stand wing with De Goey. Back inboard, Taylor Adams continues to work hard and find the footy. Short one to Stevenson, kicked a couple of first quarter goals. As JB said, no goals kicked in this second quarter. It's a 17-point lead to the Magpies.
That's after 7 in the first term, so West Coast have achieved the first thing they had to do, which is stop the bleeding.
Well, what we thought was going to be a strength was Eagles' forward line. It's been a real weakness in this quarter.
Langdon, real dangerous ball. It was flopping around in the air. Now McGovern can go wide. Vardy can go and claim the footy. And now he sits it out in front of Lacroix. It's a foot race. Lacroix and Maynard. Maynard got rid of him. Venables comes in. It's a good pick-up from Venables. The handball trying to find Elliot Yeo, who hasn't been able to impact this game. Ryan's hands were pretty good. Here's Lacroix. High ball forward. Cripps in pretty good shape in the air. Can't quite find him. Howe did well. Now it's one-on-one. Rioli closes it down. The umpire has a good look. And he wants to throw it up.
Back in, Jamie, you pulled it back into him.
And Maynard's gone off, boys, on the looks like a shoulder or something down there, Das.
Yeah, we'll get an update with the doc. We saw him get a big knock to the ribs. He came back out, and Dr. Rowan White will wheel over at Roosie in a moment. The Magpies get it to half-back. Thomas, that was an ambitious flick back out into the corridor. Greenwood did well. Big-footed one. Pendlebury, Barris, both created an opportunity with courage. Sire, though, and again, Judd, it's the Magpies that get away from the stoppage a bit cleaner.
Just cleaner, and then they've got all the spread. Hoskin Elliott's run past about 3 West Coast players to get on the end of this one.
Oh, gut-running effort. Myercheck's kick was like a gridiron play to the touchline, and Hoskin Elliott made it his own. Will Hoskin Elliott short to De Goey. He got space. He was unmarked. Jordan De Goey said, "You know what I'll do? I'll kick the first goal of the second quarter," and the Magpies get a big blow. They go to 6-2-38. The West Coast at 2-3-15. Jordan De Goey kicks his second on the Triple M Bream scoreboard.
Just, again, big moments. Jeremy McGovern, and I talked before the game about how he watches the ball the whole time, had his back to the ball, was walking back inside defensive 50, hands on hips. And the ball got handballed to Jordan De Goey, and McGovern didn't even watch the ball, Juddy.
Jenna was another one. He was watching it unfold only 20 metres away. Didn't even move across until it was too late. Their alertness, their arousal level, the West Coast Eagles just hasn't been able to match Collingwood in this game so far.
Doc, Bob J.T. Marts.
Yeah, Braden Maynard out in the rooms after copping that bad knock for his ribs about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Comes off with a left shoulder injury. Looks like an AC joint. I do not think it's dislocated.
Thanks for that, Doc. Out of the middle. Cox ran over the footy. Through came Lacroix. Got a little break on it, but then missed with the attempted soccer. Thomas. Pendlebury, centre of the G. Goes wide. Big, long, ranging lead there from Myercheck. McGovern went without the footy. Now he went back and found it. His hands were pretty good. Marston off a step. Rioli got a couple to beat and was unable to do that. Hoskin Elliott was good. Back to Pendlebury. Lays it across the boot. Treloar has it broken out of his hands. Good run-down tackle from Rioli. Eagles get it to half-forward. Lysette handballs it back to Jetta. Got to make something of these forward thrusts.
The thrust by
Beautifully done.
himself.
Ryan can square this ball to Lacroix. He goes with a handball over the top. Simple goal coming up to Hutchings. And the West Coast Eagles respond.
Yeah, they did. Really important couple of balls on the other side of the ground. So, again, they just need to win it centre forward because their ball movement from the fence hasn't been great. So just a couple of big moments, Juddy, there that went in the Eagles' favour, which we haven't seen so far.
Triple M Ream scoreboard 3-3-21 West Coast, 6-2-38 Collingwood.
It's the first time you really see West Coast get out the back of Collingwood. So far today, Collingwood have been able to keep the West Coast forwards in front of them. They've been able to control the play for them at that time. Just got out the back, and they're the sort of easy goals you're used to West Coast getting in a home and away season.
Paul Roos, Chris Judd, the Triple M Seabus Super Special comments. We've played 22 minutes in the second quarter with 3:38 now remaining until the half-time siren. 17-point margin. It was 17 points to the Magpies at quarter time, and that is what it is. Grundy, that's a good tackle. Wrapped up Redden.
Oh, no, umpire.
Paul Roos back there.
No.
It doesn't seem in keeping with the context of the way this game's been played.
Oh, please. Redden didn't have any prior opportunity. He got tackled.
Grundy says, I don't care, I'm getting on with it. And he gets it down deep. Varco front and centre. He's a front and centre specialist. Varco, can he bend it back? No. Minor score. 6-3-39 Collingwood, 3-3-21 the West Coast on your Triple M Ream scoreboard.
Shannon Hearn to bring it in. Not a lot for him to go to, so he kicks to himself and runs to the outer side. Long and wide. Rioli, Main, got a push, no free for him. Yo, ground level. And there's a high contact free going Collingwood's way.
It's interesting, Jody, the couple of times they have moved it quick, which has only happened maybe once or twice, they've actually opened Collingwood up.
Crisp, outer side. Measures that kick, but Hearn's able to take it in front of Stevenson. West Coast Eagles starting to get the vocal cords moving. They're not sure they're getting looked after as well as they should be. Wide ball. Shuey. Lysette drops what he should have taken, but gives it off to Yo. Yo tumbles it out in front of Rioli. Hutchings with him. Rioli went to ground. A little underground one to Hutchings. And he just can't get free out of play.
Hey, Jody, it feels like West Coast have looked better with Lysette as a forward and Darling not in that role. They've got through a lot better.
I think you're right. I think Vardy in the ruck looks like a better option than Lysette at this stage as well. So that combined with Shannon Hearn starting to control the ship down back, they look like they're getting their way into this game.
Seabus Super Insurances to protect the building and construction workers. Chris Judd, Paul Rouge back there. This one's going to be tossed up again. Great Southern stand wing side.
Really good point about Lysette, does. And because he's reading the play, Darling wasn't even getting near the ball.
Yeah, Collingwood's tackles 52-31. Their pressure rating 208, AFL average 181.
Chain of handballs. Duggan walks into some trouble but gets himself out of it. Redden now turns and goes to half forward. Hutchings gets the one hand to it, unable to take it. Kennedy came in, tucked in the pocket. Great smother. It was Langdon diving as we get down to you, Doc.
Maynard back on the bench with that left shoulder taped up. He would have got a bit of local anaesthetic. He's right to go.
Doc Rowan White doing a great job with Nerily Meadows for Bob Jane Team Arts. This ball's going to be thrown in. 50 from home, West Coast. Can they make it two in a row for the first time in the game? Shuey picked it off. The snap from Shuey. There we go. There we go. Two in a row, West Coast. 6-3-39 Collingwood. 4-3-27 West Coast. Triple M Ream scoreboard. They actually did kick two in a row late in that first term.
Score from stoppage, Roosie, and that still looks like their most likely scoring source at this stage. It forces them to go quick. It forces them to not overthink it. And Shuey getting on the end of it there.
He's had 17 disposals, 6 clearances of goal. So you're right, absolutely. Visually, it's the way they have to score, isn't it? Because the defence has been a fantastic intercept marking and saved them a lot. But there's no way knowing they're going to be able to bring the ball from defence to attack often enough to kick a winning score. So they have to dominate clearances, and they're starting to get on top in that area.
Touch of magic from Luke Shuey, the Chemist Warehouse, home to big savings every day. The Chemist Warehouse replay has been a big part of our coverage on Triple M footy in 2018 as that ball favoured Grundy. The umpire mysteriously let it go. Spills out to the wing, Hoskin, Elliott, Rioli. They've upped their rating here, the West Coast. Well played, Willie Rioli. Luke Shuey now ends up with Sheed, who kicks a real 9-iron down the line. Easy pickings for Langdon. Fists it forward, looking for Main. Duggan body-lined it well. Here's Shuey, really starting to make this ball his own. Rioli to Hearn, lead up target. Kennedy, Langdon, sliding attempt. Grundy got wrapped up from behind. Vardy got him. Umpire lets it go. Loose ball inside 50, the Eagles. Chris back there. Magpies under all sorts of pressure all of a sudden. Lycett back in there. And Treloar got him 35 metres out, punt road end. West Coast trail by 12 points.
Their tackle rating looks like it's going up, West Coast. That's the most intense they've pressured the ball in their forward 50 this half.
50 seconds left. Can they sneak another one here, the Eagles? Liam Ryan went and got it. He got pounded in a tackle. Adams a little kick. It ain't going to clear the area. Redden went and got it. Called to go. Elliott Yeo, big ball at centre half forward. Someone's got to win it. It was Jetta, but he coughed it up. Side bottom around the body, but he's going to kick it back to the West Coast Eagles defence. Schofield from Cole. Now some composure back there. Schofield, a wide ball, a really good one. Dom Sheed in all sorts of space. Dropped the mark. Hutchings around the body. High ball. Kennedy, did he get a push out? I think he might have. No free for him though. Puts a really good tackle on, and the ball goes out of play.
11 seconds until the half-time stop. The West Coast have got some nice momentum at the moment. They've kicked the last 2 goals. Back to a 12-point ball game. Just 3 goals kicked in this second quarter. Eagles deep in attack. Can they sneak a late one here? Important seconds. Side bottom, Sire, awkward ball. Grundy, there's the half-time siren. And this is evenly poised here at the MCG. 6-3-39 the Magpies. They lead the West Coast Eagles 4-3-27. Paul Roos, Chris Judd, the Seabus Super Special Comments team as Chua. We've got Nerily Meadows in the dock. Only real issue injury-wise is Braden Maynard. We'll hear from the dock about that at half-time. Lots to look forward to at half-time. What a grand final it's been. It is the Magpies who lead it by 12 points as thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks the grand final. Yes, thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks the 2018 grand final. And delicately poised, you'd have to say at half-time, 6-3-39, the Magpies 12-point leaders over the West Coast Eagles, 4-3-27. Big thanks to our great supporters and great friends at Chemist Warehouse. They have placed a gift bag and a cushioned seat on every seat in the MCG, and over 100,000 people enjoying the great products from Chemist Warehouse. Paul Roos, Chris Judd here at half-time, and a 5-goal to zip start. It almost felt like one more, Roosie, and we were just about going to give it up for the West Coast Eagles, but they fought their way back and they'd be feeling pretty good at half-time.
Yeah, I think Mychik slipped one off the deck, and I said, if that goes through, I'm leaving. Yeah. So lucky it went to the wrong side of the post. And yeah, full credit to the Eagles. They looked really poor in the first quarter, and even body language, mistakes, etc., etc. Yo's worth a shout-out too, Jody, I reckon. Yeah, first time with a tag. I think he had 3 at quarter time. Two-man. He's now up to what's he got now? 10 possessions. So he's had 7 in that quarter. He got involved in the game. I think it's going to be really, really important that he continues. He's been really hard around the contest, and he's the one that sort of forced the ball forward a couple of times from those stoppage situations.
I think you're right. He wasn't the only. I thought Shannon Hearn early looked really nervous, but I thought he really got going that quarter as well. So that's what has turned the game around for West Coast. Some of their key moves were jumpy early, but they've clawed their way back into the game. To score 4 of the last 5 goals, Duke, they go into that half-time with all the momentum.
11 possessions, 3 intercept marks for Jeremy McGovern in the first half. Dr. Rowan White, who almost never goes with a big statement, he is very concerned about the health of Jeremy McGovern, which is a big story, Roosie. If he is incapacitated in the second half, that's a massive out for the West Coast.
It is a big out, but I think, Juddy, the way he plays, he doesn't cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
And he positions himself in the back half. So that particular role, I think you're able to carry out at less than sort of 90%. If it's a running type midfield player like a side bottom or a Maston or something like that, it's a lot harder. But I think he can cover his own role, even if he's a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of fitness.
Eddie Peel can be a winner with a Monopoly game now back at Macca's. Full terms at maccasplay.com.au. Thanks to McDonald's, as always, our major partner here on Triple M Footy. If you're having, are either of you voting on the Norm Smith medal out of interest? If we're going to glance towards that, is there someone you've got out in front at half-time?
I think probably Luke Shuey, to be honest for me. I think he's had 18 disposals in that half, 5 tackles, 6 clearances, 3 score assists and a goal, Duke. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. So he'd be the clubhouse leader for me so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he's in front.
Magpies,
no question.
Sorry, Roosie, Magpies are back out there. They're getting through their warm-up, so we're not far away from getting the second half underway. Let's get down to Nerily Meadows for Bob Jane T-Marts.
Well, pretty good news for the Pies. Braden Maynard has just joined them in the warm-up, and he is managing to go okay through all that. He obviously hurt his left AC joint and was crunched by Liam Ryan as well, so it was a very hard second quarter, but he looks to be moving okay and moving pretty freely with that shoulder injury. The Eagles have just run out, just seeing if Jeremy McGovern is out there, boys, and yeah, he is. He's right there in the middle, not moving all that well, but as Adam Simpson told us pre-game, he never moves all that well, Jeremy McGovern.
Bob Jane T-Marts, the tyre and wheel specialist, Nerily Meadows and the doc all over it. As always, Mason Cox, how have you seen his first half of the game, Judman?
Look, he's been really quiet, hasn't he? I mean, we thought there'd be some letdown after last week where he absolutely dominated, but West Coast have played him really well. They've got early body contact on him. Barras often has created body contact, which Richmond just avoided last week, and he's been quite frustrated, Mason Cox. He only had the one touch. Did get a really good tackle late in that game. We see him working through marks now, so he just needs to keep his head, keep looking for some 1%ers to get involved in this game.
Yeah, it's interesting, Juddy, as you were talking, they were kicking the footy up. Justin Longmuir, the assistant coach of the Magpies, they're trying to get him to get a run and jump at the footy, Roosie, which he just didn't get at all in the first half.
And I think the evolution of Mason will be that he doesn't need a run and jump at it. That's the next stage for him. He needs to be able to just bully himself, body up, but he's just not that player yet, Juddy. I think that'll come. So, as we could see there, the practice is just lob the ball out in front of him, let him run and jump. But the Eagles defenders, as we mentioned before, they've been absolutely outstanding.
Magpies have got the circle of trust going again here, JB, and Scotty Pendlebury with some last instructions as we get into the second half. And I use the term delicately poised. It feels that way. It feels as though this one, how do you pick it at half-time? You could mount a case very easily for either side.
Oh, the first 4 or 5 minutes of this term are just extraordinarily important. If West Coast can bang a couple on and draw level, then you've got to think that they are going to be hard to beat. But it sounds so stupid, but the early minutes of the third quarter, I don't know why they are so important in a game of footy. They always seem to be.
Hey, can I ask you about Jack Darling, Roosie and Juddy? I think he's the one that has had a really poor grand final. He's had a really poor half the grand final. Would you be going over to him, Roosie? What do you say to a man that's just not really been up for it the first half?
I mean, his partner in crime's his benchmark, which is Kennedy. Kennedy's only had 5 disposals. So I suspect Simo maybe grabs Kennedy and rolls him over to Darling, and they have a bit of a discussion. We're not expecting Jack Darling to kick 6 or take 10 marks, but you have to compete, you have to get to the flight of the ball, and he's looked all at sea.
He's on no tackles, Duke. I'd be going to him and saying, I want 3 or 4 tackles from you this half. If you just centre his mind on that, maybe it'll alleviate some pressure and get him involved in the game.
I think the Collingwood Footy Club have got the timing of this half horribly wrong. They got out about 5 minutes early.
And they just went to go into position there, JB, and they had to get whistled back and said, hey, the umpires have only just wandered out. So they're about 3 minutes away still from the first bounce. So someone's got the stopwatch wrong.
No, they got that wrong, and you don't see that very often. There's people, as you know, Roosie, involved in the footy department of clubs, and that's their sole job.
Well, depending on who the coach is that's coaching, if someone messes that up, someone gets a massive cook generally.
Not sure if you read too much to it, JB, but Jeremy McGovern, all the other West Coast players, they were running around doing handballs. McGovern's been pretty much stationary almost this whole warm-up time, doing a couple of groin stretches and some glute stretches early. So we'll watch that one with interest.
Doc's all over it, and he has found moving pretty tough, but one of those ones you just got to get through. You got a half of footy and immortality if you get it right.
I think your point before, JB, too, about the first 5 minutes, you just think if Collingwood creep out to that 4 or 5 goal lead again, it's hard to see the Eagles making another comeback. If they can stay close, obviously the confidence, but I reckon, Juddy, if they kick a couple of early ones, it's really hard to see Eagles coming back again after already a 5-goal deficit down to 2.
As long as you've got the adrenaline running, you don't realise how tired you are at this stage of the season. But once the margin gets to that 4 to 5 goals, all of a sudden you do realise that you're incredibly sore and you're incredibly tired, and it has been a long season.
So we've got the players spreading. Still got best part of a minute to go before this second half gets underway. 6-3 to 4-3. Collingwood 2-goal leaders. as we go into this second half. And you can see Kennedy and Darling spreading to the right of your radio dial down to the city end. McGovern will be of great interest. He's out there. And big Mason Cox is drifting down there. Tom Barris done a very good job on him. So team spreading out. And Matt Stevic has the ball in hand, and we're not far away from starting this second half of the 2018 Grand Final. Here's Luke Darcy.
Still side bottom, just whispering something in Liam Ryan's ear. It's all stops, game on in this second half, and it'll be the West Coast Eagles. Luke Shuey, Ruzi and Juddy think he's been the best player in the first half. Kennedy came out and took a strong mark on his chest, got a one-on-one chance, and he goes back for an opportunity to kick his first or second goal of the grand final.
And they're those marking opportunities Kennedy doesn't get in stop plays. So many times with the long balls forward when it's been a transition from West Coast backline, he's jumping in the air against 2 or 3 other Collingwood players. But any time he goes forward in a one-on-one battle, he looks very likely to take the grab.
Coming off a 4-goal prelim final, Josh Kennedy, that traditional stuttering approach, 45-metre job to the city end. He's kicked it straight through the middle. The West Coast Eagles strike the first blow, and every player just about on the ground got around Josh Kennedy, and a real surge of energy. 5-3-33 West Coast, 6-3-39 the Magpies on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
I don't think there's ever been a more important time in AFL history to win a centre clearance, Juddy, for that very reason, because teams are now so good at rolling off, helping defenders, zone defences. So if you can get it quickly in from a centre bounce and your key forward gets a one-on-one contest, that's the best time to be able to do that.
And to not muck around with it either. Don't chip it sideways, hit it deep. Looks incredibly dangerous.
Was their biggest lead, Ash?
Yeah, Magpies led by 29 points during that first quarter.
And now it's just 6. Back in the middle. Lysette went and found it. His kick was smothered. Redden, hands and knees, trying to reef the footy out, and the umpire wants it.
Just a small thing, JB, but you even love the energy after the goal. Kennedy giving it to the crowd, all the West Coast players charging around, contrasting with how they came out in that first half.
Yo went to work, was taken out of it, will get a free for a hold.
And that's, really good effort again. Getting inside now, really attacking Greenwood around the stoppages, which is great to see.
Ryan in from the side, just couldn't hang on. Dangerous ground level ball. Langdon worked his way through. Goldsack's hands had to be good. Maynard, same applies. Phillips gets closed down. Left foot ball, long in the path of Duggan, who gets a nice fist in there. Been a good player today, Duggan. Footy goes out.
Yeah, he's looked safe, hasn't he, Duggan?
5 of the last 6 goals of this game have been for the West Coast Eagles. JB said they've got it back to just a 6-point margin and a throw in inside their forward half. They're attacking to the city end of the MCG. Grady Grundy hasn't really had the impact we would have thought on this game. It's free kick going to be picked out going the way of the Magpies. Taylor Adams held without possession, so he'll get it at half-back for the Magpies. Chips it over the top. This is what Grundy has done so well all year. He spreads from the contest almost as well as any ruckman we've seen in a long period of time. Down the line, can Cox get involved? First grab, Varco picked it up. Slides away from traffic, kick to the goal square. De Goey in front. Schofield took a good defensive mark.
He's been solid too, Schofield, which is a big job for him to come in on the back of Shepherd's injury and play on Jordan De Goey.
Quickly hello to Glenn Archer, who's listening. His flight's been held up out of Abu Dhabi, listening to us online on the tarmac. Hashtag Go Eagles, I think, was attached to what we've heard from him. The shin boner of the century. Duggan, this is across half-back. Long ball. Grundy's got a couple of beat in the air and did brilliantly well, but then took it off. Should have been holding the ball, is holding the ball. Now they can take advantage. Shuey through the middle. Got it to Rioli, who wants to go. Does so there. Gets closed down with a brilliant Varco tackle.
Big moment.
Trav Varco, as Paul Roos just said, that's a big moment you feel in the grand final. Brilliantly done. Chase down tackle. McGovern not quite moving as you would expect him to, and Mychek takes a good mark in front of him. 60 out. Punt road end to go. He gives a lead. Decides Mason Cox is the one to go for. Big Mace. Barras got him from behind. Front and centre ball to Doug, and Hearn hacked it off the ground and tracking the boundary line. Mychek's going to keep it in. Surge it back inside 50. Can Cox take this one? He can finally. I think that might be his first mark, two-man.
Yeah, spot on, Das.
So the big American, Mason Cox, dominated the prelim final. This might be right on his range, I reckon,
So
Juddy.
you want to get someone big
Only
down on the
about
line.
40 metres out, but he does just like to steer him through, doesn't he? So you get the journey, but only just.
To the punt road end, Mason Cox kicks it from 46, stabbed at it, made good connection. Listen to the Collingwood fans. Big Mason Cox kicks his first goal. They get the quick reply. And the Varco tackle, Ruse, you've got to come back to that. I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. On the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard, 45-33. It's the Magpies by 12 points. Well done, Trav Varco.
Yeah, big fast play through the middle of the ground, which went to Rioli, and he just turned and went, but then just held himself up, and it was a great tackle by Varco. So it's a 2-goal swing. The second one, the first one, Juddy, in the first quarter too, wasn't there? Was a Kennedy running into Venable. So there's been a couple of those big swinging moments for Collingwood.
Down to Inez.
Lewis Jetta just came off the ground looking pretty sore. He's got his right calf strapped up, which he didn't have in the first half as well.
Jane T. Martz, thanks for that. So back to 2 goals. Grundy, Vardy, Adams taken out of it. Ball on the ground, big one to win. Thomas overran the footy. It bounced off the head of Phillips, slapped to Marston. Side bottom brilliant, but then Marston dispossessed him. Gets to the outside and Venables goes down the line for Darling. That's a nice presentation at the footy. Darling's got Kennedy coming at him. Decides not to go there, and now the big man's just going to have to drop it inside 50. Does so. Across came Yo. Good mark taken by Langdon.
He's
very,
been good
very
too.
good. He kicks it straight into Rioli. The ball stays in. Now he gets taken out, and they'll get a forward 50 stoppage.
Funny, the protected zone 50's completely gone away, Duke. We see Rioli there, though, only 3 metres away. I guess he's moving out of the area, but yeah, it's certainly a free kick the umps forget about it this time of year. I think it's for the better too.
Boundary throwing deep in attack, the West Coast Eagles. Grundy fists it towards the boundary line. Taylor Adams tumbles this one out of defensive 50. Cox double-fisted slap down to Treloar, who was upended. Yo got involved, got it back to Marston. Big pack, Kennedy down there. And Tom Langdon, who's had more intercept possessions this final series than anyone else, came up with a big play there, Ruzi.
Yeah, he's been really good, hasn't he? He's had 16 disposals, 5 marks and 4 intercept marks. He's been terrific.
Ducked it to Cox.
Looks like Greenwood, has gone to Shuey now. So that's an interesting move at half time.
Barras, a nice stretch and mark in front of Myercheck. And he's got it on the wing. Call to go. Not sure why. Just walking back. He goes high inside 50 again. Kennedy, can it get to the back? And can anyone get on the end of it? Rioli can. A little shimmy. Gave it to Cripps, who kicks a goal. The little small forwards for the West Coast Eagles are starting to get right involved in this game. 7-3-45 Collingwood, 6-3-39 West Coast Eagles. Triple M Simple Energy scoreboard.
I was going to say that I'd like to see West Coast changing the angles a little bit more when they do into their forward 50, just to give their smaller players an opportunity to lead and run onto the football. But in that instance, the long ball just got over the back, and that's what created that dangerous space for the West Coast Smalls to run onto and Cripps to end up with that goal. But so often today that ball's either been marked by Langdon or another Collingwood defender or come to the front of the contest. But just getting over the back there, it was too dangerous for the West Coast players to swoop on.
Just for Bosch Tools, the Eagles have had 8 out of the last 9 entries inside 50.
Cbus Super insurances that protect the building and construction workers. Ruzi and Juddy in the back row of the Cbus Super special comments. And we're back to a margin of just 6 points. Collingwood with the lead. West Coast is storming. Big Grundy got it forward for the Pies. To Goey down there. They get a ground ball. Myercheck picked it up, tried to flick it to Varco. Varco tried to get it to Goey. Crashing through Taylor Adams. Oh, beautifully played, Taylor Adams. Big goal. Quick reply, Collingwood. And all of a sudden, it's goal for goal here at the MCG. Magpies back out to a 12-point lead. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
Yeah, centre clearance again, really, really critical. So going into a foil, well done by Brodie Grundy. Sort of started to get a little bit of influence on the game. A good follow-up around the stoppage and then just blasting the ball in. And Taylor Adams, really good follow from midfielder, Juddy, to get forward and kick a goal.
He's just been on top of the ground, hasn't he? He's been tough in the contest, but his run and spread been really important today. In 17 disposals, 3 clearances and a goal for Adams. He's having a big influence for Collingwood.
So back to the 12 we had at half-time. And ball back to the middle. Suddenly the game's just opened up a touch. Lysette, Grundy into the hands of Sheed and then Redden. Centre clearance to the West Coast Eagles. Wide for Darling. That's a nicer pair of hands. Starting to get involved in this game of footy, Big Jack. Long way from home. He's going to be kicking from about 55, nearly 60.
It's a chance to make the journey from there, JB. It is an incredibly long kick. You'll probably have to travel 60 metres.
This is the old BT vortex flank. He used to think the ball got sucked into a vortex from here. He goes for a pass instead, and it's a really good option.
Yeah.
Beautiful low ball, and it's marked by Lysette.
Yeah, what a great kick, JB. Good call. He just lowered his eyes at the last minute, and Lysette did really well to create space in front of him. And Grundy was only quarter metre or so behind, but couldn't make up the ground. So it was a really good, I suspect a little bit of a set play there that you're pretty happy with if you're the coach in the box there, Juddy.
Absolutely.
Got to go back and convert. Scott Lysette. He's got about 25 metres between the man on the mark and the goal face. The kick is missing. That's a bad set shot miss.
Yeah, real nervous looking kick. He stabbed at it, Scotty Lysette. And so they get away with one of the Magpies. Howe from fullback into the left back pocket where Crisp accepts the mark. Magpies now down the members wing of the MCG. Mason Cox the target. Gave a good contest. Sheed got it to Duggan. Partially smothered ball. Trying to accept it and pirouette at the same time was Ryan. Maynard got him. Now he's got a bit of an issue. Eventually it comes out. Lacroix trying to get a handle on it. Spills out wide. Diving on it. Phillips in there. Pendlebury. Crisp. Ryan applied a really good tackle. Main back there. It's still a live ball. Lacroix's hands a little too hot. Had to go back and get it. Got it back to Sheed. Varco did really well. Great tackle. Trav Varco almost could have been rewarded. He got hold of Marston. And the umpire instead is going to ball it up at true centre-half forward for the West Coast Eagles.
He doesn't have huge numbers, Trav Varco, but everything he does is highly important.
Picked up by Treloar, makes pretty ordinary contact with the footy. Jetta's got this ball to win. It comes to the back and Hearn just pounds it back inside 50. Vardy sliding, couldn't hang on. West Coast now through Cripps, can't really make any purchase on the ball. It's exiting out of there. Cox has got Barras for company. Barras unable to take the mark. Cole's got to come across. Duggan and or Marston. Big ball won by Collingwood. Into the path of Cripps. Short ball, Crisp I should say. And he gets it to Varco.
A couple of good efforts by Cox there to bring the ball to ground, then to run pressure and a good bump to finish off.
Yeah, he did really well, Juddy, didn't he? Made a contest when Barras had the play. Phillips is very aerobically capable player. He's pushed hard to get to this one. He's going to send it long to go. He's the deepest forward. Myercheck short and pretty easily accounted for. The fist from Barras, I think it was, crossed for a boundary throw in attack. The Magpies. New Prime Minister Scott Morrison in attendance on the Kevin Swearhouse replay screen. Grand final.
Inside forward 50 stoppage here for Collingwood. Grundy, Lysette. Ball down to Sheed. Can't really exit too well with that footy. Through came the Pig Greenwood. Here's Redden. Got boot to ball. It was partially smothered. Now Ryan needing some space. He got it. Sheed will have another look at it. Dumps a high one and long down the line. Darling starting to get involved. Really nice set of hands. On the wing, just got to sit and wait. Wants Kennedy to come at him. He does so now. That's a nice connection. Look at that. Beautiful presentation of the footy for Kennedy. He's a long, long way from home. 2 kicks. But the big timber for the West Coast Eagles just starting to get the job done in the air. Kennedy. Long ball's going to land just inside forward 50. Ryan dangerous here. Controlled the footy but then lost the handle. Treloar kicks it out of play. It should be thrown in. No, deliberate.
That's a massive call. Under all sorts of pressure. They've paid deliberate. Kennedy sends the West Coast Eagles into attack. Goldsack back there. Cripps front and centre. Bain wrapped him up in a good tackle. Stewie got the footy. Had a shot at goal. And he's pushed it way across the face and out of bounds on the full. Tough call that one, Ruzzi. Out of bounds deliberate.
Yeah, bloke getting tackled, slung around. The ball goes out of bounds 40 metres away.
Stevenson kicked 2 in the first term. Not done much since. High and wide he goes. Myercheck has it pounded away from him. Numbers here for the Eagles. Having said that, Greenwood went in and made the footy his own. That's chopping the legs. That's going to go Collingwood's way. And it's going to go to Hoskin Elliott. And that's a correct call for that very controversial free kick. He goes long down the line. Schofield, double fister, straight to Treloar. Treloar, side bottom, Thomas. Thomas around the body, really dangerous to go. He takes it 45 from home, gets up and goes. He's got a player in the square, doesn't use him. And that's just a behind.
Just had to kick it over the West Coast players' hands there to go. It's going to be hard to get it to Phillips, who was in the goal square, without it being spoiled. So probably the right call to have a crack at it.
Got a couple of goals, Geordie De Goey. He's that sort of player, Johnny. You just feel like there's something special's required.
He only needs 5 minutes, doesn't he, to turn the game on its head.
It was Jetta, full-back kick in. He's such a beautiful long kick of the footy, and just as casual as you like, sends it 60 metres down to Darling, who's found a bit of the footy and a bit of second-half form here, true man.
Yeah, spot on in this quarter. Darcy's had 4 disposals, taken 3 marks.
And good on him. He really struggled in the first half and found his way into the game. Redden goes short, Liam Ryan right on centre wing, Members side.
Goes back to Redden. They just control the football for a moment. They think about the switch and then quite rightly don't, and now they do. Schofield, true centre-half back, so they have got players free out of sight of the ground. Barris is one of them. Duggan. But now they've got to hold up.
Really good defence by Collingwood.
Duggan called to go, just got to sit a high one down the line. Darling again. Front and centre, Rioli, handball okay, but it got through the hands of Marston. Rioli went back and found it. 45-degree kick, really good to Redden. Overlap running now, Jetta. Out is McGovern. Takes it on the point of the square, but didn't want to go. Had Lyset on deep. Instead of that, he went to Kennedy. Really tough kick to stick. Shuey, Redden. High ball inside 50. Darling in from the side, just couldn't hang on. Big crunch. Ryan gets taken. Kennedy went and found it. Off to Cripps. To Lyset. Lyset in the pocket. Shins it to the top of the square. And Darling hangs on. What about that?
It was a horrible kick.
I do not know what was said to Darling at half-time, but whatever it was absolutely correct, because he has been everywhere so far in this second half.
Well, he nearly took that mark 30 seconds ago. It's a great effort. And Lyset's shocking kick, but he's just starting to come to the ball, make a contest, and things are starting to fall his way.
This is where they've been a bit wobbly, the Eagles. Set shot this afternoon. Darling kicks a goal. A nice response from him after a disappointing first half, and the Eagles get it back to 6 points.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done. He's come out, Juddy, hasn't he, after half-time. It's just a simple thing of going to the ball.
Yeah.
And because we know he's a great athlete. We know he can get up. And when he gets up, he's very hard to spoil.
All of a sudden, he's just at the contest all the time. And that's what wasn't happening in that first half. And even that set shot was only 15 metres out. But in a closed skill environment of grand final day, even that would have been a nerve-wracking experience. So he's clunking contested marks. He's kicked his first goal. He's well and truly in the game now, Jack Darling.
Yeah, first half, 3 disposals. He had 5 disposals and 5 marks and a goal in this quarter.
And still side bottom for Bosch Tools. Only 10 possessions for the game, only 1 in this term.
Mason Cox comes on into the ruck against Lyset, who has been brilliant. I have to say, Brodie Grundy's been really shaded. That looked kicking in danger against Greenwood. The umpire let it go. Crisp at half back. Got it to Main. Good pressure from the Eagles. Handball comes back to Aish. Sends it down the line. Myercheck, beautiful ball. Myercheck ran underneath it. West Coast opportunity via Barris. Rioli on the AFL logo out of side wing. Main did really well. Got in front of Vardy. Yo's tackled, pressure outstanding. Opens the door. Willie Rioli. Rioli on grand final day is always a good thing, and he missed. West Coast really surging here. 7-5-47. Collingwood 8-4-52 on the Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
Inside 50s this quarter, Ash.
Yeah, Bosch Tools, JB, in favour of the Eagles, 13-6.
Maynard, long ball, wide ball. McGovern in from the side. Pounds it by fist back inside 50. It gets through 3 or 4 sets of hands. Kennedy, 35 out. Left foot snapping ball. And that's going to miss. It is all going to the right of your dial. And it's now just 5 points.
Yeah, make it 4 points after that, JB, on the Simply Energy scoreboard. And I'm with you. Huge amount of momentum with the West Coast Eagles. Just under 7 minutes remaining until three-quarter time. Pies by 4 points. Crisp goes short to Taylor Adams. Oh, Stevenson was the intended target. He's copped it up. The runner has blocked Jaden Stevenson.
Who's runner? Collingwood?
It's his own runner, I think, Ruzi. And so it will be Elliot Yeo who's going to go back and give the West Coast Eagles the lead for the first time in this game if he can kick it.
They're all over them, aren't they? All of a sudden it's West Coast that look the quicker team. They're running harder and the luck's going their way.
Alex Woodward, the runner.
I don't think it would have made a difference. The ball went straight to Elliot Yeo. It was a strange kick.
So Elliot Yeo had a career-high 36 touches in the qualifying final versus the Magpies from 50 metres. West Coast in front. Yeo nails it. Eagles hit the front of the grand final. 8-6-54, 8-4-52. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard.
You just look at the West Coast numbers, Two-Man. Redden 7, Kennedy 6, Darling 5, Rioli 5 this quarter. They're getting on the end of it. They're winning the ball at the stoppage, but they're starting to look like they're spreading harder, Rosie.
Yeah, they are. As I said, I think the move of Greenwood to Shuey's, I know Shuey was on fire at half-time, but you sort of had Yeo covered by Greenwood.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you've released Elliot Yeo. He's had 4 and a goal, and Shuey still had the 5. So there's no doubt momentum. You're right, the spread of the West Coast Eagles, the tackling pressure now, everything's lifted up by the Eagles.
Seabus Super Special comments. Insurance that protect building and construction workers. We're back in the middle for the first time today, Ash. The lead is with the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, spot on, JB.
Yeo, Rioli getting involved. Yeo's hand's good. Little one from Shuey's going to work to Sheed. He's going to get tackled and just releasing a handball to Cole. Cox tried to get it out of there. Great rundown tackle, Ryan. Ball to half forward though. Myercheck is again taken down by Ryan. Out wide, Stevenson's got to be clean. Handball forward to Thomas in the pocket. Thomas swings it to the top of the square. No, just can't drag it around far enough or behind.
Well done by Ryan. 2 really, really important tackles.
So the margin is 1 point, 54-53. 5 minutes, 53 seconds until three-quarter time. And you don't think there's some tension at the MCG. Can't believe it. Unbelievable scenes here as that kick has landed in the lap of Jack Crisp. He's going to send it back inside forward 50 for the Magpies. And then all of a sudden you feel like they need the next goal. Just a steady here. Chris sends it to a big contested situation. A lot of numbers there. Josh Thomas, side bottom. Going to get a handle on it. Ran into some traffic. Got it back to Thomas. Got through some heavy traffic to the goal square. Barris did well. Off hands. It hit the post. And it is all locked away. 8-6-54 apiece. Triple M Simply Energy scoreboard. Simply Energy powering up the AFL.
5 minutes, 20 left, third term. Pulsating grand final. Duggan to bring the footy in. Long ball. Looking for Darling, who's been unbelievable.
Big quarter.
He's been as good in this quarter as he was bad in the first half.
6 marks, JB, this quarter for Darling.
Just amazing. He goes long in search of Kennedy's. Not going to get to him. Ryan in front. Ball on the ground. Shuey gets taken in a triple Collingwood tackle. And the ball up on the wing. Right in front of Nez and the Dock. 8-6-54 apiece. Just under 5 minutes left in this term. Vardy down to Shuey. Shuey off a step, pounds a long one. Darling's in good shape here again. Ball just hung in the air a little. And it was killed over the line. There's down to you.
Liam Ryan has just come off a bit of blood after an impact to his left ear. He also just wiggled his jaw around as well. They're getting him patched up at the moment.
So Jeremy Howe goes back on to Jack Darling, who, as Ruzi and Juddy have pointed out, he has caught fire in this third quarter. Well played by Sheed. Here he is again, Darling, with Howe. Just looks like it's going to be his ball. Howe did well on that occasion. Got a timely fist in, boundary thrown. West Coast deep in attack, 54 apiece. 4:40 remaining until three-quarter time.
Yeah, the good players of Collingwood. Pendlebury's only had the 3 side bottom, the 2 this quarter.
Vardy just got rid of Cox and then missed with the handball. Pendlebury got it on the up to Greenwood. Coughed it up by hand. Redden just couldn't control a really hot footy. Now the ball's about 30 from home and stacks on. An umpire watching close. It eventually comes out. It was Pendlebury who kicked it, but it's going to come back in because Schofield takes a chest mark.
And they've pushed to Goey in the midfield. Looks like Sidebottom's gone to full forward.
Here it comes again for the West Coast Eagles. Schofield steers it down the direction of Redden, taken front and centre by Shuey, winning a heap of the footy. Bends this one. Darling's in the goal square. Gave a good contest. Beautiful pick up front and centre. It was superbly taken. I think it was Liam Ryan, or it might have been Rioli. In fact, Rioli. And so the Eagles will have another ball up opportunity. 20 out from their goal. And we have got 3:56 remaining until three-quarter time.
There is the ball up. Vardy worked it down. De Goey with a strong body. Treloar taken off it. Maynard now just has to bash it out of there. McGovern in good shape to intercept Mark, and he does. They are just hanging on, Collingwood.
Brody Grundy's the one for me, Roosie. They need to get more out of it.
Yeah.
It's had no impact in this grand final.
No,
It's all tied up, but it's all going one way. McGovern, this will go to Cox. He's able to take a nice saving mark last line.
What's his numbers been, true, man?
There's only his third mark, 3 possessions and a major.
So this is now down the line looking for Grundy. Fisted away by McGovern. Picked up by the captain, Shannon Hearn. Sheed's got to play on this ball. Taylor Adams comes in, applies some good heat. Langdon happy to see a boundary throw in. And
Made a couple of changes too, Bucks, it looks like. So Brody Grundy's he gone forward, and Mason Cox, no, they've switched back over again. And Sidebottom's definitely gone to full forward.
8 of the last 11 goals for the West Coast Eagles in this grand final. And they are pouring the pressure on. That's high contact. Elliot Yeo has given up a free. And Taylor Adams has it at half back.
West Coast winger at a lot of those stoppages is getting right into the contest, JB. They're trying to outnumber actually at the stoppage.
Treloar has it just the half back side of centre wing. And just goes with a high one, looking for Cox. In comes McGovern. Shuey thought he was taken high. I think a few West Coast fans agreed with him, but no free.
West Coast defenders done a great job on that high ball too, of not chopping the arms. They've actually done a really good job on Cox and Myercheck at times.
Lysette down, no, brilliantly done by Grundy, got it to Sire, long ball now, Sidebottom has it thumped away from him, through came Thomas, left without the footy, then went and got it and missed.
Magpie fans can't believe that wasn't a holding the man free kick, Juddy.
Yeah, I don't think it was quite there. I mean, one thing you don't know about grand finals is it's really got to be a free kick. If it's 70% there, they don't pay it, and I think that's for the best. So another good call by the umps there.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. Home to big savings every day. I agree with you, Juddy. 1 point lead now. The Magpies wrestle it back. 2 minutes 18 until three-quarter time. And it has delivered in spades this grand final. Redden from half back. Here's Darling. Langdon now his opponent. Got a fist in. Lacroix. Sire tackled him well. Another possession for Darling. Kicked it over his head and it landed in Kennedy's lap. Centre wing. Some good run from behind. Duggan. Kick out the back. Big one-on-one coming up. Liam Ryan. Oh, no. He's had a real nervous one. A shocker.
It's going to come to Kennedy now. Around the body, touched ball. So players descend on it from everywhere. Kennedy having a huge impact on this game. Venables' hands were good to Duggan. Duggan to Shuey. Shuey to Cripps. Just couldn't lasso the footy. And now we've got a locked up ball about 45 from home. And Liam Ryan nowhere to hide in a grand final.
Nah.
So ball up. No ruckman able to get anywhere near it. Shuey just walked through traffic and the snap misses. And we are back to all tied up.
It's how you respond from that too, JP. He had to go back with the flight of the Collingwood player bearing down and just couldn't keep his eyes on the ball. The impact that has on his game now is if he gets lost in that. He's got to put it behind him now, and how much we remember that will be largely dependent on how he plays out this last quarter and a bit.
8:7:55 apiece, minute 11 remaining, pushing it back. McGovern unfairly dealt with Cox. And he's responded too, I reckon, Roosie, Mason Cox.
Yeah, he has. No, absolutely. Yep. No, both the key forwards in Darling and Cox have lifted after half time.
So there's going to be a Collingwood ball at half back. He's decided, still doesn't quite understand the rules there, JB. He's played on 15 metres past the mark.
I thought he'd found a loophole, didn't he?
Doesn't quite work that way.
He'll just drop this one down the line, and Grundy will have a nice run and catch at the footy. He got it to Adams, who cleared the arms. He's got side bottom deep, and he's real dangerous still, especially if the thing hits the deck. Schofield did really well. Geez, their one-on-one defending's been exceptional.
Oh, I think Schofield's been outstanding.
Yeah.
For a guy that wasn't in the team 3 weeks ago, Juddy, he's been terrific today.
There's been a lot of balls that have gone to his opponent's advantage that he's been able to nullify.
44 seconds until three-quarter time. We are all locked away, 55 apiece. Cox, this is a throw-in deep in attack for the Magpies. Sire in there, taken away by Hutchings. Launches one from outside his defensive 50. Darling in everything, but Howe on that occasion was up to the challenge. And he gets it over a boundary throw.
Yeah, so Darling, number one ranked player in this quarter. 7 disposals, 6 marks. 4 of those contested in a major.
Great respect for that man. Got himself off the canvas, Jack Darling. Had no impact at all in the first half. Grundy, they need more from him. That's a good hit out. Treloar went to the voice, then actually went back and got his own handball. Not easy to do. Back to Adams, sends it to half forward. Cox comes at it. Front and centre ball to be won. Lycett couldn't quite pick it up. Hacked off the ground. Beautifully picked up by Adams.
Adams goes back in with the left foot. It's going to work. Hoskin Elliott. 10 seconds left. They've had bugger all of the footy inside forward 50 this term, Collingwood, but they have made the most of it.
Shows you the value of playing in front. Hoskin Elliott.
After the siren kick, Juddy. And he's kicked. He'll have to set sail from 55. Man on the marks just inside 50. Huge kick in the context of this game. Will Hoskin Elliott kick on the way? I'm not sure it's got the trip. It hasn't. No score. We are all tied up. Ouch! Three-quarter time of the granny. Paul Roos, Chris Judd next. And you'll hear from Luke Darcy as well as the guys on the boundary and Ash. Simply Energy scoreboard, Simply Energy powering up the AFL. Huge final term coming hard at you from McDonald's Triple M Boxer Grand Final. We are beautifully set up, 8-7-55 apiece, three-quarter time in the granny. Ash Chua, if it is locked up at full time, can you tell us what goes on?
Certainly can. So we'll have a 6-minute break firstly. The coaches can address their players accordingly. Then we have 2 by 5-minute halves, JB, plus time on. Basically, and the coaches cannot address any of the players in between the 2 by 5-minute breaks and extra time.
And if we're still locked up after that, it is golden point.
First score wins.
First score wins, right.
Yep.
And Paul Roos is with us, as is Chris Judd. Gentlemen, what are you seeing?
Oh, it's a cracking game, isn't it? It's sort of 5-0, then what is it, 8-3 the next in Eagles' favour. So just good players getting on top, I guess. Shuey's been outstanding all day. Elliott Yeo was good that quarter, but Kennedy and Darling's come into the game. He was the story of that quarter.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it just shows that things aren't permanent. So often you see players view themselves like, I'm a soft player, or I'm a good player. And there would have been question marks if Kennedy was a player that can't stand up in grand finals, but the game doesn't know what's happened in the past. All it knows is what's happening from contest to contest. And for him to be able to clear his head, come out and absolutely dominated that third quarter. He didn't just get involved, he dominated it. Was a huge credit to him, and went a long way to getting West Coast back in a dominant position in this game.
Hey, Jody, Chemist Warehouse replay screen, very interesting. Lewis Jetto put his arm around Liam Ryan and had a good minute chat to him, just said, hey, mate, that's one you've got to let go. We need you in this last quarter. He had a very nervous moment, Roosie.
Yeah.
You've got to get on with it.
And look, I know we all say it. We've all done it, but we all have.
Yeah.
And it is a case of just moving on. Love what Lewis Jetto did. Put his arm around the young fella and said, don't worry about it. 30 minutes to go, and if you win a premiership, no one will care about it.
This has got a smell of Sydney West Coast.
05, 06.
05, 06 it has. It's that sort of nail-biting, edgier seat. No one knows which way it's going encounter. Here we go. Start this final term. Matt Stevic, good bounce. Lycett, Grundy. No one able to be clean. Footy in dispute. Centre of the ground. Cole and also Pendlebury, and now we'll have another ball up.
I just got a text from my wife. She said exactly the same thing, JB. This has got 05 and 06 written all over it.
It has. You've hardly got any grey hair, Roosie. It only ever came from those 2 days. Main high inside forward 50. Cox just the one hand. To the back, Meyer check. First blood, Magpies. Big start to this final term for Collingwood.
Yeah, and McGovern took a risk there and left his man, and I mean, it's easy in hindsight, Juddy, to say it was a bad decision, but he's left his man on the ground, went for a mark, 2-1, ball comes to ground, and his man kicks the goal.
Yeah, it's brutal, isn't it? I I still think you've almost got to go for it. If you leave the one-on-one and the Collingwood bloke marks the ball and Mason Cox, I think you left your teammate hanging there. But again, it shows the importance of score from stoppages. I think this game's going to get messy. All the players out there are tired. To be able to win those stoppages and get them deep, it's going to be the key this last quarter.
What about Brody Myercheck? This time last year, stacking shells, playing for Port Melbourne.
Yeah.
Has now kicked a massive grand final goal. Gives the Pies a 6-point lead. Grundy, light set. Brilliant smother from Adams. Ricochets forward for the Magpies. Levi Greenwood wanted it. Still side bottom tackle. Superb to De Goey for goal number 3. Oh, Johnny De Goey's got it. 2 goals. Bang, bang. And a big statement, the Magpies. The MCG erupts. Collingwood Army out of their seats. They led it by 12 points. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
That was the handball of the season from Steel side bottom, Rosie. He couldn't even really see that it was on. There was just space there. He knew Jordan De Goey's got enormous leg power. He almost drew him into that space by handballing there in the first place.
Yeah, a great handball. He picked up a ground ball and just flung it over his shoulder. That's been the move. Side bottom's gone forward. De Goey's gone in. And we know side bottom anywhere is super creative, and you can see the power out of stoppage. Centre clearance goal, huge.
Seabus Super with insurances that protect building and construction workers. First 2 to the Maggies, enormous. And there's a free kick, and it's going against Grundy. Lysette not getting access to the ball. And he just goes high and long inside 50. Vardy to get involved in this marking contest, and he clunks it. 35 out directly in front.
Centre clearance goal, centre clearance free kick, shot at goal. So we know how critical they've been. In the first 3 quarters, Collingwood goal from stoppages were only 2. Quarter 4, they've already had 2 clearance stoppage goals.
Massive set shot this to address some real momentum Collingwood are able to build at the start of this final term. Nathan Vardy to the punt road end, 35 out directly in front. He gets right underneath it, but it's straight.
Jeez.
What about that? We're back to 1 straight kick in the grand final. Beaumont tile scoreboard.
It was a funny old kick, Juddy.
Was it ever?
More than we've got a goal a minute. We're on track for 30 goals in the last quarter of a grand final. So who says you can't score in the modern game? At contested marks, West Coast 17 to Collingwood 8. I don't think there's a more important stat in today's footy. It was probably just as important 100 years ago. It's one of those things that's never changed. But to be able to have a big bloke like Vardy there stand up in a big pack of 6 players, every bit as crucial now as it has been for the last 100 years.
I reckon he nearly fell over when he kicked that, Nathan Vardy. He wobbled its way through, and it doesn't matter how it got there. It got there, and it just continues to deliver this grand final. We're back to 6 points. All important centre clearance coming up. Light set, slap forward, got over the top of Grundy. Here's De Goey. Oh, a couple of don't argues. Play on's the call, and he's gone. Play on it. It's Cripps to the goal square. He's just got it offline, and a minor score. 67 plays 62. The Pies by 5 points. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
Langdon to himself, and then runs a fair way, and then dumps it long in the Lysette and Grundy direction. They have a bit of a wrestle in the air. No one able to take it, and then the footy on the ground is locked up. And we will have it thrown in the air, about 60 from the West Coast Eagles goal. Grundy locked up Adams. Shuey's been enormous. It comes to Cripps, who gets a little toe poker inside 50. Darling lassoed the footy. A couple latched onto him. And another stoppage, 45 from home.
Been a good turnaround for Lysette on Grundy. Duke, I reckon that first final, Grundy got on top, but he's just about got the points today, Lysette.
Yeah, I think he has clearly, Juddy. He's been very influential, Scotty Lysette. Done a great job coming in over the top. Liam Duggan's taken a mark. Side bottom Phil, he was infringed.
I'll tell you what he was. He was knocked over by Marston. He was very stiff there not to get a free kick.
This kick's going to go in the Darling direction. Oh, Main came in from the side and took a really strong defensive mark. Chris Main, another great story. Couldn't get a look in his first year at the Magpies. And he's playing an important role in the grand final. Long down the line. Cox!
Well done.
Good contested mark down the line.
Got to see what he's got to go to. It's not much. So he hangs on and now just steers it. Elliot Yeo in good shape. Side bottom crashes into him. Grundy had a ball to win. Myercheck was ripped in a great tackle. Yeo now gets held up in the side bottom tackle, and the ball will be bounced or thrown up. wing half forward for Collingwood, who lead this game by 5 points. Thrown up. Grundy, Lysette, Ryan's had some interesting moments in this game of footy. Comes to Maynard, left foot, connects with it beautifully, long inside 50, flies in from the side and takes a magnificent mark.
Yeah, we said it before, that both key forwards, Darling and Cox, second half, poor first half, they've both lifted. Really good mark coming back to the fly of the ball.
She's a big kick, this one. He goes back and slots it.
He's generally a pretty reliable kick, isn't he, for a fellow that only picked up the game about 4 years ago.
It's on his max distance, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Only that 40 metres out.
He goes with a low ball flight normally. He does that here, and he has kicked a goal. Cox gets his second, and the Maggies are back out to an 11-point lead.
It's the often used saying, isn't it, that the quick blokes slow down as the game goes on, but if you're 211 centimetres at the start, Duke, it's exactly how tall you are at the end, and he wasn't in a great position to take that mark. He had to run back with the flight of the ball, but because he was on the move, Barras wasn't able to get that early body contact, and that's when they've controlled Mason Cox this afternoon, when they've been able to get early body contact. If you let him run and fly at the ball, it's just too long.
Can't underestimate how big a mark that was, Roosie.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of your time in America. You're married to an American. He's got that sort of confidence about him, hasn't he?
Yeah, and look, there's so many great athletes over there that don't get a chance to go on and play professional football or basketball or whatever, because there's about 1% of college athletes go on the pro. So there's a lot of great athletes, of which Mason is clearly one of them.
And he's performing on our biggest stage here in Australia. Unbelievable scenes. Centre clearance opportunity. The Magpies, succession of handballs. Sire was dispossessed. Now it comes forward via Yo. Here comes Darling at centre forward off his hands. Came back into his lap. Liam Ryan. Can he make amends? Decides to stick it to Kennedy. And Kennedy got it in front of Goldsack. Beautiful, controlled, composed kick. And Josh Kennedy. Left forward pocket. Punt road end. He's going to go the Stevie J round the body style. It's an acute angle. They're charging at him off the mark. Kennedy steps out, bends it around. He hit it superbly. Couldn't have kicked it any better. Kennedy kicks goal number 3. And we are back to a 5-point Magpie lead. Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. Beaumont Tiles have pre-designed complete bathroom packages from under $4,000.
What a centre clearance goals this quarter, too, man.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, for Bosch Tools, 2 goals, 1 to the Eagles, 3 goals to the Magpies. So 5 majors from centre clearances.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
And well done to Ryan too. He had that fumble in the marking contest, and he fumbled a ground ball, and you were starting to wonder, is this going to ruin the rest of his game? But he was clean there, just gave the kick a nice amount of air for Kennedy to run onto. So now that he's done a positive thing after that contest he would have been disappointed with, he'll be back in the game.
Seabus, special comments with insurances that protect building and construction workers. Another centre clearance to Collingwood. High ball forward. Barras focused hard on the footy and took a very, very nice mark. He's got Redden spreading for him, gets to him on the wing. Venables further afield, didn't want to go there. Redden's become a really important player for the West Coast Eagles. Goes long and high down the line. Vardy! Handball off to Sheed. Sheed goes to the top of the square. Rioli in a wrestle. Hoskin Elliott gets back there and support, and the footy goes over.
Gee, great mark. Just some of the contested marking, Juddy, we've seen today has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, Vardy, as well.
Hard to defend Nathan Vardy when he extends up at the footy like that. The West Coast now get a look at a boundary throw-in. Deep in attack, 10 minutes into the last quarter, 5-point lead the Magpies. Picked up by Hoskin Elliott. Clears defensive 50. Mason Cox gave an appropriate contest. Picked up though by Cole. Squeezing handball back to Hearn. A little one-step kick into forward 50. Sheed. Main did pretty well. Made sure it was a contest. Ball at ground level. Umpires letting it go. Lecras in there. Main back in there. Still letting it go. Sheed in an arm wrestle. And eventually it will be thrown up right on the edge of forward 50. West Coast trail 68-73.
Just with Darling and Cox, the bottom 3 ranked players on the ground, while they're ranked 1 and 2 in the second half. That was in the first half they were.
Side bottom, rare error from him. That's out in the full. Just watching the way the umpires keep the whistle away in this grand final. Why in God's name footy isn't umpired like this every week, I have no idea.
Couldn't agree more.
It is such a better game. We scream for it every year and they keep paying 50 plus. Cole, long ball, wide ball, Darling, hands extended, just couldn't hang on. And the ball's going to be thrown in right forward pocket, punt road end, 68-73, Magpies by 5 points.
Thrown in ball. West Coast have some time in their forward 50 to apply some pressure. Vardy and Grundy, neither ruckman got a clean hit out on it. Phillips has got Cripps wrapped up in a strong tackle. They let it go out wide. Vardy athletically got boots of ball. Here's Darling. Front and centre, Liam Ryan. And Ryan bends it through. No. Thought it was home. Just nicked the goalpost for a minor score. 73-69, 4-point lead to the Pies. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
How to bring it back in. They're now starting to really pour the pressure on here, West Coast, but Collingwood have just stood up all game. It's been amazing. Elliot Yeo's going to get a run at this. Takes the mark, 55 from home. You've just got to ask if they can hold up. They lead this game by 4 points. Yeo goes long. Darling has a run at it. It's into the behind post, so it'll be a deep ball in.
Triple M rocking the grand final. Thanks to McDonald's, any Peel can be a winner with the Monopoly game. Now back at Macca's, full terms at maccasplay.com.au. The West Coast camped inside their forward 50. Can they get a major from it? Grundy in front. Vardy worked him under it. Rioli twisting. Wrapped up by Crisp. And again, a lot of time in forward 50.
Yeah, since half-time, it's 29-14 inside 50s in favour of the Eagles.
Slapped to Redden. Just couldn't get his kick away. Ryan can't keep it in, and we'll have another boundary throw in. About a metre around from the behind post punt road end.
Just a huge amount of numbers at this stoppage, JB, but at the last minute, West Coast are pretty good at dragging their men away and creating little small portholes to run into.
So the boundary throw in. Shallow again. Vardy gets to it. Clean possession. Lacrosse taken. Through came Hutchings, was unable to get boot to ball. And that is going to be marked by Jeremy Howe just inside the field of play.
Still deep in defence, the Magpies, and Howe's decided he's going to chance his arm. He's going to come out Members' side. It looked a little shaky, that kick, but in the end it found the intended target, Phillips. Still inside defensive 50 now. Mason Cox, the outlet target. Oh, well played, Mason Cox. He has stood up on a really good defender, taking a big contested mark at halfback. Huge play. Pops it down the line. McGovern's going to come in. Ford couldn't get it. Myercheck did well. DeGoey has surged it over right through the interchange race. Members wing side. MCG 14 gone in the final term. It is a 4-point lead to the Magpies. Drew-Man.
Yeah, Bosch Tools say Cox, number one ranked player since half-time. 7 disposals, 6 marks and 2 majors.
A couple of massive outlet marks from Mason Cox. Here's Redden. Off a step. Goes long towards Darling and Howe did brilliantly well. Ash Stewart there for Bosch, by the way. Bosch Power Tools and Accessories. Good, better Bosch. Really good defensive mark taken by Jeremy Howe. He doesn't kick that ball well at all. Shuey reads it best off the boot. He's got the leading lane here. Kennedy, the ball's going to track him over the back. And Flying Ryan just stayed at home and took a chest mark 25-30 from home. Liam Ryan.
Yeah, Goldsack sort of misjudged that. He pushed Kennedy underneath the ball. As we saw in the Triple M Chemist Warehouse. Yeah, pushed him under the ball and forgot where the ball was landing, and it was Crisp versus Ryan.
This kick to give the West Coast Eagles the lead in the final term of a grand final. Liam Ryan almost directly in front to the punt road end. And he has missed it to the right. Wow. Massive miss.
Can see the pressure start to build, JB, and Jeremy Howe's the other one down that end. His last 2 kicks for Collingwood have been real scrubbers, and that one led to the repeat entry there for West Coast.
Yeah, he is the fullback kicking option, so he kicks it to himself, looks for Grundy, fisted away in the end by Lysette pretty easily. So the West Coast keep it in their forward half of the ground boundary, throw in.
Forward 50 entries this term, Ash.
West Coast 11, Collingwood 3. The two-man just passed that to me.
And those three have resulted in goals.
Yeah, Collingwood won the quarter by 3 points to date.
Boundary throw in, half forward. Brilliantly taken by Adams, but he's wrapped up in a tackle. Did he release the footy just? Phillips got it, but it's going to come back through Hearn. So they just cannot exit D50, as it's called these days, Collingwood. It seems to just trampoline back in there. Hearn didn't really get much on that kick, so it's going to land at centre-half forward.
Oh, Maynard.
And Kennedy just came in and took an uncontested mark.
Yeah, Maynard sort of was too focused on his man, and the ball dropped short. It was pretty hard for Goldsack because
needed some voice there, Roosie, didn't he, really? There were other teammates that could see that unfolding. It's justified to be wanting to stick on Ryan, especially...
No, I agree. It wasn't necessarily Maynard's fault because he just didn't really have the awareness.
Yeah.
Someone need to yell, you got to go.
Got 3 on the afternoon, Josh. And that's not going to be 4. He hasn't hit that well at all. Long ball, fisted through for a behind. 71-73, Collingwood by 2 points.
Even the points feel like they matter for something at this stage, Duke.
Sure do, Johnny. Super special comments. Chris Judd, Paul Roos got an outstanding job on Triple M footy. Maynard to Mason Cox. Barris this time. Effective fist. Kennedy attacked it full-chested. Pendlebury's click handball was good. Out to Greenwood. Adams wants it out of there. Can they get through? Stevenson, the only option. The young rising star winner. On his back, got boot to ball. A lot of numbers with the West Coast. Hutchings tracking the boundary line. Stevenson came back in. Well played. To Goey with a chipper. Myercheck's got to go.
Oh,
goal.
Mark.
Good mark, Rosie.
50.
And 50.
Yeah.
What's that going to mean in this game?
Yeah, great courage from the young fella. Read the ball really quickly off the boot, didn't he?
Marked it uncontested, wraps him up, takes him again.
Yeah, it had to be a 50.
Jeez, that's big.
Just here.
So this young man, Tommy Cole, he's going to be kicking from outside 50, so it's not a shot on goal, you don't think. He just goes with the set-up kick. Darling to fly high from behind. Ground level ball. Lacroix can't access it. Handball back to Langdon deep in his own defensive area. Thumps it out of there. Cox to fly. Just couldn't hang on. Now it's a big ball to win. The big Greenwood unable to do so. Redden had to try and find Barris. He did. Barris sits a high one forward. Darling to get involved in the air again. Rioli ground level. Tunnelled a little bit by Kennedy. Main gets wrapped up in a big tackle and it's going to be thrown in the air.
What about this from the West Coast Eagles? They are just pounding the ball inside their forward 50. What it's been, true, man?
They've had the last 10 entries. Collingwood haven't been inside for 12 minutes.
They are just holding up. Phillips's kick is going to be marked inside forward 50, and it's Marston.
Good body work there from Marston. He's not normally an overhead marking player. He just put a little nudge on. Was it Hoskin Elliott?
So sheer weight of numbers here. Can Chris Marston step up and give his side, the West Coast Eagles, the lead? Couldn't get a game in the back half of 2017, this man. No bigger moment in his career. This is his 198th game of AFL football. It's a 40-metre shot. Punt road end. The MCG, Marston leans back. Ordinary looking kick. And a minor score, 73-72. Pies by a point. 8 minutes to go in the grand final.
Main in his own defensive area, slips it over the top to Hoskin Elliott inside defensive 50 still. It will be one of the great performances if Collingwood can win this game of footy. Kick across the face, just got to Jeremy Howe, like literally a metre from his own goal. So Ryan's got to come back a little bit. Now Howe goes for a penetrating ball and finds Phillips. With this little ball inside 50, if they can find a way to win it, it will be just extraordinary. Phillips high. Hutchings got to focus on the footy. Did so well.
Every 50-50 is going towards the Eagles now, isn't it? Particularly marking.
Hutchings goes. Nice ball too. Gets to Hearn. Outside 50. Hearn got a couple of big targets if he wants to go long. He does. In really good shape is Darling. The fist came. Lacroix, can he get access to the footy? No. Big ball here to win, and Collingwood did brilliantly.
Oh, their defence has been amazing. Chris now kicks it to the wing. They've got some space out here. Myercheck had some run from Stevenson. One-on-one. It's De Goey. McGovern fisted it away. Good disciplined effort. Wants the boundary line. Got to go back after it. Jeremy McGovern. Courageous effort. slides towards the boundary line. Finally, the Magpies are inside their forward 50. Farko wrapped up in a tackle. Let's get down to Nerley.
Josh Thomas has limped off the ground with a lower left leg injury. He's gone into the rooms in the hands of the doctor.
Well, Jane T. Mart's tyre and wheel specialist down there. Can they score from their fourth entry? Astounding Collingwood being able to stay in this game of footy. Here's Hoskin Elliott. Sits it up. Big Mason at the back. It bounces through. What the hell?
Score review. I thought it was touched on the contest here. Score review.
So score review.
Well, why is it a score review? Didn't the umpire just say it was
touched there?
Yeah. Well, the goal umpire called touched as well. So why are we reviewing it? The game, particularly in the grand final, momentum, etc., etc.
Coach Sire, score review, and it's going to be a pretty simple one. So it's a point, and we're back out to 2 points, and we've got 6.5 left in the grand final.
Drama everywhere. You can't believe this grand final. It's one for the ages. Shannon Hearn from full back. Massive pack at half back. Luke Shuey. Oh, side bottom got him. Big effort. Still side bottom. It was a bit of a gang tackle. They might pay it to Jeremy Howe. And so a huge play. Shuey was away. And now this is going to come back inside 50. Mason Cox looms large. Oh, he's got it. He's got it again.
Jeez.
Just contrast it, Duke, with the way West Coast are banging it 55 metres in deep every time. It's just so much more predictable for the opposition defenders to read. That kick for Collingwood, they just lowered the eyes and gave Mason that room to run. That's why they're being so much more efficient down there.
He's got the whole family out here, Mason Cox from Texas.
Blood rule, I think, Big Duke.
Well, we've lauded the West Coast defence all day, but Collingwood have had 5 inside 50s, and this will be their 5th scoring shot. So every single time they've gone in, they're 3 goals, 1 for 4 entries. Now, this is the 5th, so they could go 4 goals, 1 with 5 entries. West Coast have had 15 for 2 goals, 5.
I always think that he's just on his range, Mason Cox, but he's kicking these low darts, Juddy, that are just finding a way to wobble through.
He doesn't know that's not how you're meant to kick it, does he?
2 set shot misses at this end. It's scripted that this goes through.
100,000 here at the MCG. Everyone on the edge of their seat, and it's an American who holds a grand final in his hands at the moment. 47-metre effort. It's going to go across the face. Juggling marking attempt. Mychek thinks he's claimed it. Umpire says off hands, and so it will be a thrown-up ball. 5.5 minutes remaining in the grand final. The Magpies by 2 points. This is about a metre out from their goal.
Jeez, if they jag one here, it's a long way back. Ball up, Vardy, Grundy. Grundy just tried to force it through with his body as much as anything else. Second ball up. Just extraordinary scenes at the MCG in the grand final. Grundy, Vardy to a dangerous spot. Treloar, DeGoey! DeGoey! Snap high, can't hang on, hasn't got the trip. They'll get another look through DeGoey. Now Adams misses. Had more room than he thought he had, and that's out in the full.
Yeah, he could have probably kicked the drop punt, couldn't he? Had a bit more, but I mean, that's that perceived pressure of a grand final.
Is there some pressure at the moment? Brucey, Juddy, what about this? It is just unbelievable. Lewis Jetta from almost his own goal line. We're right on 5 minutes remaining in this grand final. He gets it to half back. The Magpies fist it forward. Taylor Adams can't keep it in. So 11-8-74 Collingwood, 10-12-72 West Coast. There's your Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard. And a tick under 5 minutes remaining in the 2018 grand final.
Thrown in ball. Collingwood have just been so impressive to stand up. Handball comes to Hutchings. Around the body, it's going to bounce for Langdon. It didn't bounce nicely for him. He goes back and finds it, however. Hoskin Elliott retreats back to Howe. His high ball to half forward's a huge one to win. Sheed gets his hands clear. The clearance comes to Collingwood, to West Coast, and it finds Kennedy. Kennedy on the run looking for Ryan. Gets closed down by Goldsack. Huge one-on-one win for Collingwood. They exit again. High ball forward. They got an outnumber here. Mychek. Hands to it. Couldn't take it. Hutchings gets the handball back. And that ball's out of play. It'll be thrown in out of side.
Gee, great effort by Goldsack. He read that so quickly and got across to look like Ryan was by himself. It was a terrific effort.
Superb play. Triple M C Bus Super Special comments. Chris Judd, Paul Roos, 4:21 remaining in the grand final. Magpies by 2 points. Half forward for the Collingwood Footy Club. Boundaries throw in. Shuey's gone. Taylor Adams got him. Incorrect disposal. And now the Magpies, can they score from this entry? McGovern set himself 20 metres out, Juddy.
Yeah.
He's eyeing off an intercept mark. Mason Cox down there. McGovern. Myercheck over the top. 20 metres out. Good tackle, Varco. And it will be thrown up. 20 metres out. City end. It's the Magpies by 2 points.
It's at the right end of the ground for a while. They stood up for so long, Collingwood. Now they can impact on the scoreboard. Sheed couldn't hang on. And then he was taken out of it. It got to Adams. His kick was smothered. About 10 out. Now to Goey. His kick was smothered. Desperate defending. Ball pinging around. No one able to be clean. In comes Kennedy. Taken in the Grundy tackle. Footy on the ground. Still no one able to be clean. It spits out to Cripps. Ball gets to Cripps. Amazing how that can happen. And he's taken it just inside the defensive 50 line, but he's not got much on. He's got to go long down the line. Ryan's got to impact this. Well done.
Jeez, bad kick.
Well done. Great defensive mark taken by Crisp.
98th game in a row for Jack Crisp. And he came up with a massive play. Goes to half-back, still side bottom. They're just going a little defensive here, the Magpies. He sends it back to half-back to Crisp, and they're taking some time off the clock. We're down to 3 minutes, only a 2-point ball game. There's another goal in this grand final. It might be the one that wins it. Grundy and Vardy out of side centre wing.
Jeez.
Chance out here now. Treloar picked it up. Gets on the left foot. Kicks it inside 50. Myercheck. McGovern. Huge defensive mark.
Now he's got to exit with the kick. He's got Vardy on. He gets to him on the wing. The big man. Has he got anything to go to further afield? He likes the look of Ryan. Hands on it. Couldn't take it. He did take it in the end. Big mark, Liam Ryan. He wants to just get and go. He does. Massages it to a 1-on-2. Sheed's got it. Thought about playing on.
Oh, he did play on.
Now he goes back with the footy. Jeez, this is a tough kick. He is hemmed in the pocket. We've got 2 minutes left in the grand final.
Very stiff Maynard not to get a free kick.
He was.
Oh, he was blocked off the footy.
So, Dom Sheed, what can he do from this pocket? Set shot, left footer. It is good. That is incredible. That is unbelievable. Dom Sheed threads it from the pocket, and West Coast are just in front with 2 minutes left.
Well, Liam Ryan dropped the mark in the third quarter, Juddy, and you made the comment. It's not about dropping that mark, it's about what you do after that. And he's taken an absolute cracky mark on the back of Jerry McGovern's contested mark.
And now no one forgets the poor contest, do they? But he's had his moment, he's had his impact, and Dom Sheed's just been outstanding as well. Two-man, what's been his numbers?
He's had 31 disposals, thrown 8 clearances and a major.
Incredible.
West Coast Eagles have only been in front 5 minutes of the game, and now, Roosie, they just get everyone back.
Yeah, look, this is the trick, isn't it? I mean, it's 1:45 to go, so if you get a forward entry if you're West Coast, the ball's coming straight back.
Grundy, this clearance might determine the grand final. Can the Pies get it their way? Here comes Willie Rioli, picked up by Maynard. Awkward handball. Vardy's going to get it. Squeezes it back to Cripps. Cripps short to Kennedy. Kennedy's going to play on. They're storming forward.
Oh, he missed the target.
He missed it. Horrible bounce. Maynard came in. No free kick. West Coast are going to send it forward by Shuey. Out the back.
No.
Jack Darling. He dropped it. Jack Darling. Can they get it back to Cripps? Smothered off the boot. Rioli back there. Amazing tackle on the goal line. Darling, what's happened there?
That's the grand final in his hands, and he's dropped a foot. Extraordinary.
It had a sense of romance about it, didn't it?
Extraordinary. We're going to get a ball up about a metre out. Grundy, Vardy, side bottom wants to concede and does.
Wow.
That is unbelievable.
Well, you talk about composure. All Eagles had to do was hold one of those marks in that chain.
Yeah.
We've now got 58 seconds left. They've got to go coast to coast. And Maynard just wants to pound it long down the ground. He aims a barrel. Doesn't hit it particularly well, and Shuey marks it. And now they've just got to find someone out. They've got Ryan out. But they don't want to use it. And the seconds start ticking down. They've got sideways options. Surely they've got to take one of them.
Well, I think the umpire straightened him up.
So 45 seconds left.
Gee, can you give him his 30 seconds?
Shot on
Elliot Yo standing by himself behind. He just needs to kick it back.
Just go sideways. Instead of that, he sits it up. Vardy to come screaming at the footy. Kennedy went and got it and then got claimed. And the ball's locked in and we've got 20 seconds left.
Time for the Pies to go coast to coast. It's going to take something extraordinary. It has been one of the great grand finals. 25 seconds. Eagles deep in attack. Grundy flicks it out the back. West Coast want to hold it up. Adams chases after it. Maynard, precious seconds, tick off the clock. 18 seconds. West Coast by 5 points. And a boundary throw in 20 metres around from the Eagles' goal.
Every single thing has got to go right from here for the Collingwood Footy Club to grab one of the most improbable victories of all time, but it's Vardy to the front. Pendlebury kicked it up for grabs. It's going to bounce in front of Elliot Yo. They've just got to find someone wearing the same jumper. Kick to half forward. No one able to take the mark. Redden had a little play on it on the ground. There's the siren. The West Coast Eagles have won the 2018 AFL Grand Final in one of the more extraordinary games you will ever see. Look at those boys on screen. They were beaten in 2015 horribly. They have responded with a come from behind win in the grand final. They were 5 goals zipped down and they win it in the end by 5 points.
Unbelievable effort from the Eagles. We talk about them, Juddy. Like, they were 5-0 down. We talked about their body language. We talked about the mistakes they'd made. We talked about how they were really struggling with their game style. Full credit to them. I mean, they really turned around. Luke Shuey, outstanding. Their leader's fantastic. McGovern intercept mark. Hearn really straightened his game up after that. Darling's second half was outstanding. So, look, full credit to the Eagles. They looked down and dusted in the first quarter. What a great comeback. What a great effort.
It was outstanding, wasn't it? In the first quarter, you felt they were almost only one more goal away, Collingwood, from almost putting the nail in the coffin at that stage of the game. And even in that last quarter, Collingwood came right out of the box. Got a couple of early goals, but you were waiting for one team to buckle, for one team to say it's all gotten too hard. But to both footy clubs' credit, they didn't waver throughout the whole game.
Let's have a listen to Daisy Pearce with Dom Sheed.
Congratulations getting there, and over to you, Richard.
Jeremy, huge mark by yourself down there that set up that forward play. Then you got a mark from Vardy. Ryan takes a contested mark. She drills it from the boundary. It started with you, mate.
Oh, mate, the boys were fantastic, Evan. Credit to Collingwood, mate. It's a great contest all day. You just got to love your footy, don't you?
You do, mate. The back line, outstanding. The amount of intercept marks you guys took down there. When you were trying to peg back into the game, they were huge.
Oh, mate, we play as a back six. I'll probably get all the recognition for it, but and all that back line, mate, they're great players, so there's a credit to the back six.
What about the midfield, Shuey and Sheen? How good were they?
The boys stood up, mate. It starts here in the guts, and when the boys get going, they're just as good as any. They probably fly on the radar, so I'm so proud of them, mate.
Mate, get over there and get into your teammates. Well done, Jeremy.
And you wonder what the story will be with Jeremy McGovern. It's always revealed afterwards. He's clearly played with an enormous amount of pain. And you see heartache after a grand final, Juddy, but the devastation, looking at the Magpies now, they are just in ribbons at the moment. You couldn't describe a more heartbroken group.
No, they'd be absolutely shattered. There should and would be absolutely no embarrassment, because their fans and everyone that put on a Collingwood jumper today should be well and truly proud of their efforts, but that won't take away from the immense disappointment they're feeling right now.
Adam Simpson joins the West Coast Eagles Premiership Club. Let's get down to Richo.
Today didn't start that well, but we just keep fighting, and that's what footy's about, so it's just fantastic.
What did you say at quarter time? Because it looked bleak. The first 5 goals to the granny to Collingwood.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things I think we learned, momentum can go different ways. Let's just stay calm and keep working, and we just managed to do that.
Did you just try not to look at the scoreboard? Scoreboard pressure can get you in big games.
Yeah, it can. It's easier said than done, but it takes time to learn. We just knew we had to keep fighting, and eventually things would go our way. We just had to make most of opportunities.
Mate, what about your big men today? I thought Vardy and Lysette. Grundy's an All-Australian ruckman. The last 2 weeks they've had Gawn, Grundy. How good have they been?
They've been great, mate. We understand, they just compete really hard, make them work, and that's what we had to do. And those two boys are great. That's with the midfield in the second half.
What about a word about your coach, Adam Simpson?
It's the most fantastic, mate. It's just, 5th year in coach, been final series, understands the players and gets the best out of them, so it's just great.
Mate, all this talk about taking the grand final somewhere else. You've just won a grand final on this place, the MCG. Yeah. It's got to stay here.
Mate, I think it is. It's always great playing here. WA's fantastic, great support, but this is always great here.
And you got plenty of support, didn't you?
We did. So always great supporters.
Right, well done, man.
So we've seen Adam Simpson out on the ground, 100,022 fans in this incredible arena, and also see Nathan Buckley, two very classy individuals. Scott Pendlebury has the Collingwood group together, and they lost not one fan today. They were amazing, especially Ash in that second half. I don't know what the entries or the time in forward half was in the second half, but it had to be Rosie. I think you
time in front, JB, 105 minutes for Collingwood, 7 minutes for the Eagles. So I mean, you're right. I mean, it's just an unbelievable game, and when you lose a game, you're absolutely shattered, and you're going to go through everything. But the Collingwood were brave. They were fantastic. I think going in, everyone found it really difficult to pick a winner. Yeah, you were tending to go, well, maybe I'll go with West Coast because they're forward line. Maybe I'll go with Collingwood because they're depth. But it was really difficult to pick a winner. And I think we saw why today, JB.
So tell us the time in forward half and the forward 50 entries second half.
Forward 50 entries, I can give you, JB. 38 to 18 the Eagles' way. 7 goals, 10 to 5-5.
So when you think about that, Juddy, it is staggering that Collingwood were able, through will as much as anything else, to stay in that game.
I think you're right. Yeah, they got numbers down there. I think if West Coast had have changed their angles a little bit more and lowered their eyes in their forward 50 entries, I think they could have won by a couple of goals. But Collingwood was stoic, and the way their back half were able to stand up, Langdon in particular was just outstanding down there. I thought was a real credit to them.
See Hamish Brayshaw on the screen getting some real Pachone hang time going there. He needs to know his place within the playing group. But it is always about the whole club, not just about the 22.
Ruse, it felt to me like the fairy tale stories were with Collingwood. They had so many amazing things that happen, and sometimes you get a sense of destiny about it, but we find out that you don't always get the fairy tale, do you? You have to find a way, and just for 7 minutes of the game, the only time they went in front.
Look, I think both clubs had some fairy tales, didn't they? I mean, both clubs went through adversity. We probably tend to focus on the Melbourne-based clubs more because we're in Melbourne and, obviously with Bucks last year. But, I mean, Adam Simpson was under enormous pressure. They lose Natanui. They lose Gaff as well. It was hard to sort of pick who you wanted to win, Juddy, because there was some really good stories. Goldsack coming back in. Yeah, Darling had a bad grand final last time, as did some of the Eagle players. He stood up today. I mean, you want good stories in footy. That's what football's all about.
And this year felt more than any other. There were just so many of them. I thought Jack Darling, had he have marked that, just would have been the perfect way to cap off a couple of mixed grand finals. But he was still outstanding today. But that would have been some beautiful closure for him. But in the end, he was still incredibly important for this result.
To see Nathan Buckley on the screen there, Duke getting around his players, and they'll be devastated. They were in that game up to their eyeballs for every second of it.
You just wonder how your footballing life changes sometimes, JB, don't you? You're minutes away from everything you've dreamed of. He's been in the industry, Buck, since the age of 15 or 16 in the Sandful in South Australia, and you chase that dream, Roosie. It's just such a sliding doors moment. You don't know whether you'll be back there again.
That's the biggest thing, Darcy, there's no doubt. Like, if you go down the ground and you realise how far away it is now, you realise you've got to go through another pre-season, you've got to battle another 17 clubs again, you've got to get into the 8 again, potentially top 4, and you've got to get back to this position. That's the thing, that's the enormity of this moment for the Collingwood Football Club. They realise how difficult it is to get back to this position.
And Nathan Buckley's an extraordinary story, Duke. I'm pretty confident at 17 or 18 he won a Sandful grand final with Port Adelaide. And he would have thought at that stage he'll win another 5 or 6 because he's such a brilliant player. And he's fallen short as a player, desperately short as a player, and then now as a coach. It's going to come for him eventually.
Yeah, he was a Jack Oatey medalist in that grand final. He won the McGarry medal, and all in front of him, his footy journey has been an amazing one, and what he's done this year. But likewise, the West Coast Eagles, what a great achievement. Such a difficult task to come to the MCG and perform as well as they did. 5 unanswered goals in the first quarter. We almost had given it away, Rosie. It was such a commanding position the Magpies were in.
Yeah, it was a great comeback we talked about. And I think, everyone's trying to sum up a game before the game. And I felt in order to win as an interstate club, you do have to dominate periods of the game. You actually have to be a fair bit better. And we saw after half-time, you mentioned the inside 50. So Eagles ticked that box. They became a dominant team, and then probably only through missing goals late in the game, it cost them a more comfortable victory. So full credit to the Eagles. Come to the MCG, beat a red-hot Collingwood after last week, Juddy, was a great effort.
We saw some really simple set-shot misses, and then Dom Sheed against the paint of the boundary line just steers the most sort of cold-blooded set shot through. It's just incredible.
In a strange way, there's almost less pressure on that kick, in a way, because you're not really expected to get it. It's the one that Lysette missed from 25, 30 out.
Right.
Even Darling's first kick was 35 out, a very kickable shot. They're the ones where in a day like today the pressure builds up, but taking nothing away from that set shot kick, that'll go to West Coast and WA folklore.
Well, another cracking grand final the Eagles have been involved in. They've been involved in a few. That margin Ash got out to at its highest.
Yeah, it got out to 29 points, JB, but they trailed by 17 at quarter time still.
But what are the greatest comebacks in grand final history? I know that famous Carlton one.
Yeah, well, from quarter time it's 29 points, but the greatest is Carlton by 44 points against the Magpies in 1970.
We always look at the games late, which we do, but I thought that critical period was just before quarter time, wasn't it? When they got those two. Was it Rioli or Rioli at the back of his slipper, which came down at sort of a crumb, which hit his leg and rolled through, and just those critical moments early in the game we tend to forget, Juddy.
Yeah, absolutely. If they didn't get those two then, very hard to see him getting back the way they did.
Jeez, Josh Kennedy was enormous. For a big
he
forward,
was good. Yeah,
he kicked that second one in that term that got him back with a look at it, and then kicked one in the third and fourth quarters, and
he's at 18, 3 goals, 2, tackle pressure. He's got to be close to... The Norm Smith's going to be really, really interesting, isn't it? It's just big numbers with Shuey and Sheed. But it'd be hard to go past Kennedy for best on ground, wouldn't it? Because his first half, I think he only had 5 disposals in the first half.
Yeah, 5 tackles.
5 tackles, but you just sensed he was the guy, Juddy, whose body language was up. He was on top of the ground. He was keeping his team in the game.
All right, let's get down to the presentation.
I'd now like to invite 1967 Grand Final field umpire Peter Shields to present the AFL umpires Grand Final medals, and invite field umpire Brett Roseberry to accept the medals on behalf of the umpiring team. Thanks, Peter. Well done, Brett and team. Now, the Collingwood Football Club have had a magnificent season and were so brave in defeat today on the game's biggest stage in an unbelievable game of footy. Would you please welcome the captain of the Pies, Scott Pendlebury, to stage to say a few words.
First off, I just want to thank fans, Collingwood fans, West Coast fans. It was an unbelievable experience to play out here today. To the Eagles, boys, you were too good in the end. Well done. Enjoy the victory. Thanks.
Well done, Scotty, to you and the Pies. The presentation of the Norm Smith Medal. Please welcome Sean Hart to present the medal to the player adjudged the best of field in the 2018 Toyota AFL Grand Final. And the winner of the Norm Smith Medal is...
from the West Coast Eagles, Luke Shuey.
34 disposals, 9 clearances, 8 tackles, 1 goal, 1. Pretty hard to argue with that for a game of footy.
Thank you. First of all, to the Collingwood Footy Club, Nathan Buckley, Scott Pendlebury, you guys are a wonderful organisation, and against a lot of adversity this year, you've made it to the big stage. You deserve the opportunity to be here, and I'm sure you're going to be back over the years to come. So commiserations, well done on getting here. To our fans who have come out today, you guys have travelled thousands and thousands of kilometres to be here, and we love you. This one's for you. Cheers.
Yeah, classy effort from Luke Shuey. Spoke very well. Joins our own Chris Judd as a Norm Smith medal winner for the West Coast Eagles.
It's every young footballer's dream to be on the grand final stage on the last Saturday in September, so it's with much pleasure that we welcome the 22 winners of the NAB AFL Auskicker of the Year competition from the NAB AFL Auskick program, who will now present medallions to each player of the winning team. Number 1, Liam Ryan.
Well, we spoke about it a bit, but he was good. He took an incredibly important mark late and had a real impact on the result.
Number 2, Mark Lacroix.
Yeah, probably didn't have a huge impact, but some moments there where he really got involved from a contest point of view. And look, there's some debate whether he should go on, but well done. It's a credit to his career, Juddy, that he gets up there as a premiership player.
Dom Sheed.
Would have been right up there in the Norm Smith voting. Dom Sheed kicked the goal that sealed the game for them in the end. He was absolutely brilliant with 32 disposals.
Number 6, Elliot Yeo.
Yeah, I thought he was really critical. Some of his inside stuff was great. He got tagged in the first half. That tag was released after half-time. Just showed some real grit. He's really developed into a high quality player.
Number 7, Chris Marston.
He had a pretty solid game in the end. Had 14 touches, worked really hard. Didn't get huge numbers, but he keeps his position and structure really well for them out there on the wing.
And hung on to the hat. Poor kid just wondering what's happened to her hat. Here he comes.
Just needs a hat, that's all. Well done, Logan. Well done, Chris. Number 8, Jack Redden.
I reckon this is a guy that should take a lot of credit. He stepped into that Pritis Mitchell role. He was obviously at the club. It was sort of pushed out. He's a natural inside midfielder. He's a two-way runner. He's a great tackle. Great story, Jack Redden. Fantastic effort.
Number 13, Luke Shuey.
We've spoken a lot about him. Norm Smith medalist, very deserving. Did it when it counted in their first half. He had 5 score assists for the game and kicked a goal himself, so he's incredibly damaging with his 34 disposals.
Number 14, Liam Duggan.
I thought he had some big moments, Liam Duggan. He really solid across half-back, and I think that was the key to their game, just their ability to win one-on-one contests across half-back. Great effort from the young fella.
Number 15, Jamie Cripps.
He played his role. It's a tough spot there in half-forward. Had about 16 touches. Kicked a goal, really important goal in the second half. Played his role again.
Number 17, Josh Kennedy.
Yeah, look, had to be in the top 3 players on the ground. He was exceptional with his effort today, his ability to get from contest to contest, capped off with 3 goals, 5 scoring shots, 18 disposals, an absolutely high-quality game.
Number 18, Daniel Venables.
He was pretty quiet today, Venables. Just had a couple of possessions for the game, but he's had the 4 possessions for the game, but he's at the beginning of his AFL journey. I think he's only in his 3rd year, so he's got a very big future, and he's going to be a premiership player for a great footy club.
Number 19, Nathan Vardy.
Yeah, talking about big moments, he's ended up with 14 disposals. A couple of really big contested marks, big goal, great effort from the 2 ruckmen, so he's had a really good day, Vardy.
Great 2 weeks from those 2 ruckmen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 20, Jeremy McGovern.
Well, had the sore hip pointer pre-game, but stood up when it counted. And of all the critical contests throughout the game. I thought his contested mark late in the game created a turnover that eventually led to the Dom Sheed goal. Was as important as any.
Lewis Jetta.
Yeah, now becomes a two-time premiership player on the back of his excellent game for the Sydney Swans. He really made a comeback into this team this year, Jetta. Went to half-back, really critical. Not a lot of the footy, but his composure's really valuable. 13 disposals, had a solid game today.
Number 27, Jack Darling.
I was wrapped for Jack Darling today. We spoke a lot about his first half, which was really quiet, but he absolutely turned the game on its ear in the third quarter when he dominated the aerial contest. It was great to see him be able to turn that round and have that strength of character.
Tom Cole.
Probably the other young player that really straightened himself up. Had a couple of moments early in the game, but then made a really good intercept mark, won a really important contest late in the game. So, again, turned the game around from a poor first quarter to have a really solid three quarters.
Scott Lycett.
Quite possibly his last game in the West Coast Eagles colours, Lycett, and he went out in fantastic fashion along with Varda. We've talked about the job they did on Brodie Grundy, but he'd be walking off with his head held high today.
Number 31, Will Schofield.
What a great effort from this fella. He's come in on the back of Brad Shepherd's injury. Didn't look like getting a look in. How important these players are. He's done a really good role today. First on De Goey, and then when De Goey in the midfield, side bottom, a couple of super contests that he won. Well done.
Number 34, Mark Hutchings.
Had the 15 touches, had a defensive role on side bottom at stages. It wasn't a complete lockdown job like we've seen from him in the past, but played his role and did his job as he does every single week.
Number 37, Tom Barras.
Had some really big moments today again, like his teammates, and had his handful at times too with Mason Cox. That was one of the best battles of the game, I felt. The Howe battle with Darling was great, and the Cox battle with Barras. So well done, Barras.
Number 44, Willie Rioli.
The 7 tackles today, which I thought was the most important stat for his game. Doesn't always pressure like you see some of the elite pressure forwards in the competition. We know he's incredibly skillful, but it was his tackling today which really caught my eye and kicked the first goal of the game. Really serviceable effort up forward by Rioli.
And number 25, the captain, Shannon Hearn.
Yeah, really pleased for him. He's obviously a popular guy. Just a couple of moments in the first quarter that he had that looked like, well, very un-Shannon Hearn-like, but his next 3 quarters were outstanding. His organisational skills, his ball use, and he's just a fantastic captain and an outstanding player.
Please welcome Dennis Pagan to present the Jock McHale Medal to the coach of the 2018 Toyota AFL Premiership team, Adam Simpson of the West Coast Eagles.
Some nice synergy there with Simo receiving it from his mentor, the great Dennis Pagan. Not a hugger as a rule, Dennis. Normally likes to go just with the hand. But
he went with the hand, Dennis.
He did.
Simo brushed it away.
He'll be so pleased for Adam.
Skipper first, then the coach.
Thanks everyone. Thanks to the sponsors. We got out Toyota, NAB, SGIO, BHP, Hungry Jacks. We really appreciate your support throughout the whole year. All the fans that come out. It's just a fantastic game of football. West Coast, people from WA and Perth. We'll get back there and celebrate with you next coming week. To all the fans, thanks once again. Make football here, playing great. To all the boys, yes, the 22 that played, but to all our squad, that's why we play football. Got a lot of boys that put in a lot of hard work. So this is for everyone. So well done. I want to thank the staff as well. Simo, all the West Coast coaches, everyone that puts in time, volunteers. That's what makes football clubs, and that's what makes it so enjoyable to come to work. And we can put in hard work in like this and get a win. So thanks very much. Appreciate all your support. Also, thank you to Collingwood. Thanks to Scott Pendlebury and Nathan Buckley. Been fantastic all year. Got a lot of respect for you all. Thank you. What's going on? First of all, I'd like to congratulate Pies. Sensational game. You're playing with real spirit. There's real sense of unity amongst both clubs, and you can sense that today. And congratulations to all the supporters for what they've done for the club over the journey. To the sponsors, SGIO, Hungry Jacks, BHB and ECU, thank you so much for your support for the football club. The AFL and Toyota, sensational atmosphere today. It's a first-class event. To our club, we start with the top and go down. Our fans and supporters all over Australia. Done it the hard way this year. Our football club, our volunteers, our footy department, our coaches, our families around all that, and the players. It's all been a united group this year. It's been a fantastic ride. We've faced a lot of adversity. My heart goes out to Eric McKenzie, Brad Shepherd, Nick Natanui and Andrew Gaff. You're part of it. It's a squad mentality. Trevor Nisbet. And just on behalf of the whole club, we can't wait to bring that cup home. So thank you so much. Cheers, that'll do. Thanks, mate.
It's a great pleasure to ask Dean Kemp of the West Coast Eagles to present the Premiership Cup to Shannon Hearn and Adam Simpson.
Twice in his playing time, he held this thing aloft, and here we go. Listen to this. Roosie, tell us what that feels like.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. It's hard to put into words, and I think Simo and Shannon summed it up. There's so many people involved in a footy club and so much effort and time that goes into it. And this is the moment, Juddy, you play for, you savour, and you try and remember as much as you can and who you're standing next to and who's on the ground. It's just an amazing moment.
Oh, it is. I mean, there's just no way you can think about a to-do list or a regret or something you're worried about in the future. In this moment, you just... that enraptured in what you've been able to achieve and fulfil a dream from a very early age. So those 22 blokes out there, it's a moment they probably won't remember it that clearly, but they'll never forget it either.
West Coast Eagles are premiers. The Collingwood Footy Club make their way down the race. We're going to get to a break. When we come back, we'll have all of the lap and the celebrations, the interviews. For McDonald's in the end, it was a 5-point win for the West Coast Eagles. Triple M rocking the grand final. Brett Thomas, M Sport Update, Metro Trains.
Well, what an unbelievable finish. The Eagles joining the Kangaroos with their 4th premiership. Collingwood, of course, racing out to a 29-point lead in that first quarter. West Coast clawing its way back with scores level at three-quarter time. Dom Sheed, the hero, threading a set shot from a tight angle to put them in front deep into the final term, and that's where they stayed. Here's Jeremy McGovern with thanks to Channel 7, another star this afternoon.
The boys are fantastic, Evan. Credit to Collingwood, mate. It's a great contest all day. You just got to love your footy, don't you?
To the NRL Grand Final, Cooper Cronk was a virtual spectator at Roosters training this morning. The star halfback is a long shot to take on his former club, the Melbourne Storm, tomorrow night. But Triple M's Wendell Saylor wouldn't be surprised if he played.
Well, I love the theatre of it. I don't know about you, Hoops. I reckon it's good. I think Cooper will play, even if it's at about 70-75%.
And motorsport legend Bob Jane has died, aged 88, after a long battle with cancer.
It's the Festival of Footy at Celebrations. James Squire 24-pack range, just $49. Yes, $49. And Sunday at Celebrations. Pricing may vary. Don't drink and drive.
Partly cloudy. Currently it is 12 degrees at the MCG thanks to Metro Trains. After the Eagles won the premiership for McDonald's, Triple M rocks the grand final.
This quarter was brought to you by Beaumont Tiles with pre-designed complete bathroom packages from under $4,000.
For McDonald's, Triple M rocks the grand final.
As we've got to know Jane Kennedy and Mick Malloy this year, we've learnt that Mick loves unusual sex.
I've always wanted a conjugal visit. Is that just me?
That's
a conjugal visit, which is said when you have sex in prison.
What goes on in your head?
And we've learnt that Jane loves a drink.
We have a bar fridge. It must have been locked. Pretty much you had a nervous tick going on, like your eye was buzzing. I walked in and you'd fogged up the window.
End your day the right way with Triple M's Kennedy Malloy, driving you home from 4.
The Mitsubishi Runout Sale is on now, and that means free fuel cards and unbelievable runout deals across the entire Pajero Sport range. Take off in an adventurous Pajero Sport GLX Auto, now just $44,990 drive away, and receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card. But hurry, only while stocks last. The Mitsubishi Runout Sale. The time of your life starts now. Private buyers, terms and conditions apply.
LG has been awarded Australia's best TV brand by Choice in 2016, 2017 and now 2018. Upgrade to LG today and experience the future of home entertainment from Australia's best TV brand 3 years in a row. LG, life's good.
When it comes to nicotine cravings, a few seconds can last a lifetime. But our new Nicorette Quick Mist Coolberry starts to relieve cravings from 30 seconds. In fact, you're 2.5 times more likely to quit smoking with our new Nicorette Quick Mist Coolberry than with willpower alone. New Nicorette Quick Mist Coolberry is a great mild flavoured mouth spray that is fast to act and easy to use. To help you quit for good, discover the new with Nicorette Quick Mist Coolberry. Always read the label, use only as directed.
When it comes to protecting your valuable machinery or vehicle, there is no better choice than Fuchs Lubricants, the largest independent manufacturer of lubricants in the world. Fuchs' superior customer service and product range covers everything from automotive and agriculture through to manufacturing and mining, all using German technology and produced right here in Australia. To see what Fuchs products best suit your needs, head to fuchs.com.au and find out why more people are making Fuchs their lubricants company. Call 1-800-1800-13 to make Fuchs your lubricants company.
That's the sound of another winner. Play Monopoly at Macca's and peel your way to thousands of Flight Centre prizes, an ultimate weekend with Village Roadshow theme parks and more. Peel, play and win today. N16 1018. Visit maccasplay.com.au for full terms.
You've been on the tools for years. Now 2018 is the year you become a building legend. At Builders Academy, legends make legends. So if you're ready to advance your career and get your Cert 4 or Diploma in Building and Construction, you'll only learn from the best teachers to become a Builders Academy legend. You might even be eligible for government subsidised training. So don't wait. Call 1300-LEGEND.
Legends making legends at Builders Academy.
RTO code 21583.
Zoom Zoom. Feel it. Own it. Take home September value on BT50 4x4 XT Utes with 3 years 45,000 kilometre free scheduled servicing from $39,990 drive away. It's time to go.
Jeez, he's quick.
Go, son.
Look at him go.
Go, son.
Yes!
Fellas,
score a great deal at BWS for the footy finals. Like a case of Beck's beer bottles for only $40. Hurry, sale ends soon. Conditions apply. Drink responsibly.
It's coming. Triple M's Oztober, a 31-day celebration of Australian music, celebrating the songs that shaped it and the moments that have burnt in Aussie rock history. And we'll throw the biggest Triple M garage session ever. Birds of Tokyo, The Living End, Paul Kelly, and more probably. Oztober, a month-long celebration of Aussie music, starts Oztober 1, exclusively on Triple M.
Shut up.
For McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
Triple M rocks finals footy.
This is the Triple M Footy Review.
Any Peel can be a winner with a Monopoly game now back at Macca's, full terms at maccasplay.com.au. And today's Macca's moment late in the final term, the Dom Sheed set shot goal. Here's how we called it on Triple M Footy.
There's another goal in this grand final. It might be the one that wins it. Grundy and Vardy out of side centre wing.
Jeez.
Chance out here now. Treloar picked it up. Gets on the left foot. Kicks it inside 50. Myercheck. McGovern. Huge defensive mark.
Now he's got to exit with the kick. He's got Vardy on. He gets to him on the wing. The big man. Has he got anything to go to further afield? He likes the look of Ryan. Hands on it. Couldn't take it. He did take it in the end. Big mark, Liam Ryan. He wants to just get and go. He does. Massages it to a 1-on-2. Sheed's got it. Thought about playing on.
Oh, he did play on.
Now he goes back with the footy. Jeez, this is a tough kick. He is hemmed in the pocket. We've got 2 minutes left in the grand final.
Very stiff Maynard not to get a free kick.
Yeah, he was.
Whoa, he was blocked off the footy.
So, Dom Sheed, what can he do from this pocket? Set shot, left footer. It is good. That is incredible. That is unbelievable. Dom Sheed threads it from the pocket, and West Coast are just in front. It's an extraordinary game of footy. Collingwood led for pretty much all bar 7 minutes, I think you said, Ash, or it might have been Ruzi who said it on the Bosch Tools stat sheet. So they came late and stole it, West Coast, but they really, for that second half, just had crushing forward ground advantage and couldn't make the most of it. Let's who are we hearing from Dom Sheed? Let's have a listen to this. And Luke Shuey.
This group is so amazing. We got a special bond, and to be honest, we thought it was only a matter of time before things worked out for us. We fell short in 15, but this group has stuck at it. And as a result of having a strong, tight group, your young guys come in and they can play on instinct and play good footy. So it's a nice combo to have.
I can't help but look around and see a mix of guys like McGovern and Hearn who are just walking around soaking it in compared to your Liam Ryans and Jetta that haven't stopped dancing. How do you make that click and gel in a footy club?
Guys react differently, but I know that every guy here is, we're ecstatic at the moment, mainly for our coach. I mean, Simo's been through everything with us, ridden the highs and lows. People were calling for his head halfway through last year, but, let him talk. We'll walk the walk.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your own game as well. Over to you, Richo.
Thanks, Stacey. Mark, you were here a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, walked off the ground a loser. This makes up for it, mate.
Oh, mate. Unbelievable feeling. Like you said, most of us have lost one, and to win a tight one like that, oh, mate, it's surreal.
So many great efforts in the game, but Mark Hutchings, the job he did was phenomenal.
He's been amazing all year. We've been a role-driven side. Nothing special from anyone. It's just come in and play a role. And, there's a few blokes that actually do quite a few special things. But, mate, amazing effort and, absolutely great team, mate. I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
Mate, you've got some new players introduced. Liam Ryan, flying Ryan there. How good was that grab down the line to get it to Dom Sheed? Just shoot.
They've been huge for us all year. Him, Willie, Venners, young guys have just come in and really stood up when it counted, when it's their turn. Mate, they're a special bunch of young guys. It's going to be it's exciting time for the footy club.
And you got your little daughter here. How great is it to share something like this with her?
She's so good for when you have your losses. It's good to go home and they take your mind off it, to be able to share a win with them. And the rest of my family are all here, mate. It's something special.
Soak it up, Mark. Over to you, Daisy. Got Josh Kennedy.
Josh, congratulations. Football is a funny game, isn't it? When you needed a goal, you're 5 goals down and one comes off the shin of Willie Rioli.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing what happens. And, look, it was just, I don't know how long we led for in the end, but, we did it in the end. And Dom Sheed's goal was something that was so special. So, we got one.
Where's the resolve of this group come from? Because you're written off before the year even started, written off again when you lost Nick Nat, then Gaff, then Shepherd. Where does your belief come from within this group?
Look, mate, we've just been preaching the whole squad mentality, and, it's cliche, but we just want everyone to play their role. And we've had a few outs this year, and guys have just been able to come in and play their role, which is all we can ask for. So we're able to get the job done, able to give ourselves the opportunity to play here, and we got it done today.
And how good is it to share it with your family? Little Lottie, shoes off on the MCG, that's every little girl's dream.
Giving me medal. It's all good, all good.
I suspect it's going to be one hell of a party.
It will be. No, I just can't wait to take that cup home.
Well done, Josh. Thanks.
Thanks to Channel 7 for the on-ground interviews, and they'll continue, of course. And Josh Kennedy, what a game of footy he played. Exactly what you want from your big power forward. So they're making their way around. I get the feeling these poor bastards down here, Duke, might miss out because they started from the punt road goal and have worked their way all around the southern stand wing.
And there's a healthy group of West Coast supporters right in front of us down here, and they are waiting a little bit of love, but I'm sure someone will send them round. Credit to the West Australian fans. Part of the world you grew up in, JB, and they come here en masse. If they hadn't got a ticket, there's been West Coast supporters everywhere. They fill up the pubs and the hotels, and they deserve their celebration tonight.
Get in the car often on a Tuesday because the flights are either too expensive or booked. So they just wax and drive across the Nullarbor. So you're right, and Juddy knows that he played there for many years. They are a very passionate group of West Coast Eagles fans.
They're a great footy club. My mother-in-law was one of those who drove over, JB, so...
This grand final?
No, when we were playing in 05, 06, 05, her and her partner drove over, so they'll do anything to get to the game, West Coast fans.
And they are a juggernaut of a footy club. I mean, we speak flippantly about it. This is a club that's about to Duke put a $50 million facility out at Lathlane Park, the old Perth Footy Club, and are paying cash. Aren't going to the government, aren't going to the AFL, aren't going to anyone for help, are paying. It's already waiting in the bank.
Just out of the savings accounts there, Jim?
They are a juggernaut. They've got, a cap membership at 60,000, but Juddy, they would have 160 if they were allowed to have them.
They would, and I mean, we were really looking at just about the two biggest clubs in the competition. I don't think we always think of West Coast as being that big when you're based in Victoria, but they are an absolute monster
enormous
over there.
No, they are. Right, we'll get to a break, come back to wrap up after this. Been fantastic, brilliant grand final. 5 points in the end it was for the West Coast Eagles. Back with more from the G after this break for McDonald's. Triple M rocks the grand final.
All year, 18 teams have battled for the ultimate prize.
History made at
And
the
today,
MCG.
one team lifted the 2018 Toyota AFL Premiership Cup high above their heads.
The West Coast Eagles have won the 2018 AFL Grand Final.
On Monday, Triple M's Hot Breakfast will have a complete review of the biggest game of the year. Triple M's Hot Breakfast. Everything Melbourne. Everything AFL Grand Final. Back Monday from 6.
For a lawyer who's there for you, visit gordonlegal.com.au.
Jesus, quick. Go, son. Look at him go. Go, son.
Yes!
Fellas, score a great deal at BWS for the footy finals. Like 2 cases of Furphy Refreshing Ale for only $96. Hurry, sale ends soon. Conditions apply. Drink responsibly.
G'day, people. Mick Malloy here. Oh, get a whiff of that. It's Melbourne's best spring racing, the Caulfield Cup Carnival. So close, you can smell it. This year, don't miss the taste of brewery fresh tank beer at the Carlton Draft Front Bar. Plus, entertainment, food, and Michael Malloy Esquire looking surprisingly dapper. The Caulfield Cup Carnival, turning racing on its head. October 13 to 20. Tickets available now at mrc.racing.com. Carlton Draft, brewery fresh since 1864.
On the worksite, there's good days, there's better days, and then there's Bosch days. On a Bosch day, everything goes right. On a Bosch day, your work is bang on perfect. On a Bosch day, you're a master of your trade. Make every day a Bosch day with quality German-engineered Bosch professional power tools. All back with a 6-year warranty, including batteries, chargers, and measuring tools. Good, better, Bosch.
LG has been awarded Australia's best TV brand by choice in 2016, 2017 and now 2018. Upgrade to LG today and experience the future of home entertainment from Australia's best TV brand 3 years in a row. LG, life's good.
For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Ream's been proudly manufacturing here in Australia for over 80 years.
Install a Ream. Install a Ream.
So ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
When it comes to protecting your valuable machinery or vehicle, there is no better choice than Fuchs Lubricants, the largest independent manufacturer of lubricants in the world. Fuchs' superior customer service and product range covers everything from automotive and agriculture through to manufacturing and mining, all using German technology and produced right here in Australia. To see what Fuchs products best suit your needs, head to fuchs.com.au and find out why more people are making Fuchs their lubricants company. Call 1-800-1800-13 to make Fuchs your lubricants company.
Zoom Zoom. Feel it. Own it. Take home September value on BT50 4x4 XT Utes with 3 years 45,000 kilometre free scheduled servicing from $39,990 drive away. It's time to go.
Jesus, quick. Go, son.
Look at him go.
Go, son. Yes!
Fellas, score a great deal at BWS for the footy finals. Like a 10-pack of Jim Beam White Label and Cola cans for only $36. Hurry, offer ends soon. Conditions apply. Drink responsibly.
Shut up. The footy's a Triple M.
For McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
Triple M rocks finals footy.
This is the Triple M Footy Review.
Grand final won by the West Coast Eagles. They are continuing on the lap, which will help these people down in front of us because they dead set thought they were getting brushed. And now they'll get a look at their premiership heroes. And it also brings Nez into the game, who's down the bottom there. So if she can snaffle someone, we'll be able to jump down and say hello to her and them when the time comes. Juddy, I don't imagine there's a better feeling in footy than this parade around the ground.
No, look, there's not. And I reckon there's a pattern where the players and clubs stay out even a fair bit longer than they did only 10 years ago, because there is a There's absolutely no rush to get off the ground, Roosie. It's the best 40 minutes you'll ever have in your life, and you might as well lap it up as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny when you end up getting to the function and you look at your watch, it's about 9:30 and you can't work out where that 4 hours went. It just goes. And we came back out in the ground to sing the song about an hour and a half after the game in the middle of the ground, which was unbelievable to do that. So this is great, JB, isn't it? Look at the great group of West Coast fans that are right in front of us now, and all the players. This is what footy's all about.
It's great community footy, isn't it, JB? Just look at Wayne Carey and Adam Simpson sharing a moment. Grand final captain and young player Simo was in 96 when they won the first one. And Dennis Pagan presenting the Jock McHale medal to Simo as well. There's a lot of great synergy in what happens in the community that is AFL football.
Even that moment at the start of the game, Duke, when the banner ripped apart, you saw the cheer squad, lady in the cheer squad, bawling her eyes out, Nathan Buckley over their pre-game consoling her. It just brings a lot of different people together.
See, Adam Simpson had some issues to plough through this year, on and off the field, and did so with great class. His wife Nikki will be down there somewhere, and she's a beauty, and the kids, so well done to him. As I think Luke Shuey said, there were people middle way through last year screaming for him to be exited as the West Coast Eagles coach, which was staggering from over here, but now he's a premiership coach, and that's fantastic. The boys down here in front of us with the silverware. Number 4 for the West Coast Eagles.
Pretty consistent performers since they joined the competition. Not many teams that have played more finals than them, so never too far away. And like you say, it just speaks to how good a club they are. Led by Trevor Nisbet as the CEO, who's been there for a very long period of time. Obviously the footy manager before he was the CEO, so they run a pretty slick ship, and it's no surprise that they're never too far away.
Most finals in the AFL era, West Coast.
Is that right?
Yeah, 22 of their 32 years. Let's get down to ground level. Let's have a listen to Adam Simpson.
Family in the club together.
Yeah, they get a bit of Cameron time. Elson's had enough this year, but these kids have been great, obviously, and my wife's here somewhere, which is good to see as well.
Now, Mark, you grew up wanting to be a West Coast Eagle premiership player. Tell us, you watched the 92 and the 94 flags. How?
Yeah, Dad made me watch them on VHS when I was about three or four, probably.
You were born in 91, weren't you?
Yeah, born in 91, so yeah, I was just a baby when he was screaming at the TV when we won them, 92 and 94, so been an Eagle supporter ever since, and to play in one, it's a dream come true.
You, Doug, just talk to the girls. How is Dad during the week?
How's his nerves been? Because he's always acted as a really cool cat, even when he played. Is he always cool?
Always cool. Like
always cool.
Always cool. He's never been nervous. I mean, he's sometimes nervous, but like never like in front of us. Nah, he's fine. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Is Daddy good?
Yes, he's really good.
Now, Simo, when Dom Sheet is lining up, and you're thinking this is how the year finishes. He either flushes it and we're the premiers, or we're not. What's going through your mind?
Ask me what was going through my mind when Jack Darling dropped that mark in the goal scorer with a minute 14 to go. We had control of the game. We just couldn't convert. So sometimes that happens, doesn't it? You miss all the straight ones, and then when the pressure's off a little bit, Dom snags it. He's done it before, so...
I think you kicked 2-5 to 1 behind in the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, look, I thought we had control of the game in the last quarter. It was just, we couldn't convert, so... Yeah, this is history.
Simo, you said before, off camera, you said, what do I do now? As a player, you know what to do. You just, you enjoy yourself. Do you know what you do as a coach?
I don't know what I'm meant to be doing.
But you've dreamt about this, Simo. Well, you've been in charge for 5 years. You've thought about what this might feel like and look like, and what do you do? How actually is it?
Look, I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I mean,
you had to have.
I think you dream about it, and then all of a sudden it's happened. So, it feels like...
yeah, a bit like, I don't know how to feel.
As a player, it was obviously real, but as a coach, you represent so many people. So when you win it, you don't know what to do. Anyway, I'm going to go.
You had enough.
We're going to go for a walk.
Well done. He is a classic, that bloke.
I've had enough.
I've had enough. I'm off.
I'll be feeling a lot better if you stop asking me questions. I think that's how I interpreted that.
If you actually let me drink in the moment, I'll tell you what it's like.
As a coach, Roosie, you're out there and you played so many great games. You got to the grand final. Get down to Nerily first. I want to ask Roosie a question in a moment. Nez?
I've got Willie Rioli with me. I tell you what, if your last name's Rioli, you're a bloody good chance of winning a premiership. How does it feel right now?
Yeah, it's surreal feeling at the moment, still sinking in, but hopefully next couple of days it'll all sink in, and I'm still enjoying it, and I'm still pinching myself. Never thought I'd be here. So.
Did you get any advice from the family heading into this one?
Yeah, I had dinner with Cyril last night and had a little chat, but he said, do what I've been doing all year and playing my role for the team, and he said nothing really changes. He just said there's just a lot more people at the game, and he said just picture yourself playing back home in front of 400 people and you'll be all right.
You did some pretty special things out there today, but also your tackling pressure, it was remarkable.
Oh yeah, well that's what I base my game on, my defensive pressure, and if I'm not kicking the goals and my defensive work's there, I'm playing my role for the team.
Now Adam Simpson just walked past and given a little wink and a fist pump. How happy are you for him, and what has he meant to you? Because he's given you licence to thrill this year.
No doubt. This really started last year. I think remember end of last year when he asked me, I might come up home to TV Islands with you, and just to get an experience of where I've come from, and I've grown so fond of Simo because of that, and I've got so much respect for him to come up and live the way I live for a week, and experience life on the TV Islands is something I'll take in and I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Now, 12, 18 months ago, they were saying you weren't fit enough, and now you're a premiership player. What's that like?
Mate, it's all... I never doubted myself for a second, and I've got a great support group around me who, always push me to my limits, and it's probably why I'm becoming the person I am is because of those, the great support group around me. Not just my family, but the guys at the club. Like Lewis Shedd has been the main one who's kind of took me under his wing since going over to Perth, and like I said, it's still unbelievable feeling right now.
Willie, you're a star. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Soak it all up.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Nez. And Willie Rioli, see Daniel Pratt and Adam Simpson enjoying the silverware in their hands. Lots of people we need to thank. Partners for a start, McDonald's, Supreme again, our marquee partner, Ream, Beaumont Tiles, IGA Liquor, Simply Energy, Mitsubishi, Just for Men, Holden, Bob Jane T-Marts, Coates Hire, Seabus Super, Metro Trains, Chemist Warehouse, Bosch Tools and Temper Mattress. So thank you to them. Without them, we would not be able to broadcast. We've got Barnsey coming up live, concert here at the G. Well, we're thanking people, great support staff, Triple M Footy, and a man called Lee Simon, who has been in charge of our product since it started, I'm pretty sure, Lethal, which has got to be well over 20 years. Absolute superstar, and great credit goes to the visionary that you are. Because we've always done Triple M Footy differently, and it came from the top. So well done to you. Of course, the godfather of rock. So one of the great rock DJs over the journey, and back to old Eon FM. But well done, Lethal, and don't be a stranger. Luke Tunnicliffe, who does a great job. All of the staff who bring this product to everyone who listens every weekend. We really couldn't do it and wouldn't be able to do it without the amazing support. Next we go to the grand final rub, by the way, after Barnsey. And then we've got, I think, are we replaying the game again, Lucas? Yes, we are. So there's still going to be plenty for Triple M Footy fans to enjoy. Duke, well done to you.
Thank you, JB. What a great privilege it is to be in the Triple M commentary box on this day. And Juddy, of course, and Roosie, who not only did a magnificent job of the special comments today, but also brought us an insight into what it feels like to play in.
Yeah, great
and
day.
Coach a grand final.
Thanks, JB.
So,
one of the best.
Well done to you. And Ash, what are you going to do with yourself, please?
Thanks, JB. I'm looking forward to the off season, actually.
Right.
Yep.
What's that going to look like?
Spend a bit of time with the family, but gear up for another year in 2019, JB.
Roosie, you had a question for Roosie before we went?
Before we go, I just want to talk about the difference. You've played in so many big games, Roosie. Is there more satisfaction as a coach or a player? Is that hard to answer?
I think it's different. I mean, the coach is the manager, and, I think if you lose, and I lost the grand final in 96, as bad as it is, 2 days later you can say, well, at least I was able to do this, or I had a reasonable game. There's no reasonable game if you're a coach. You have a win or a loss. You win in 05, you lose in 06, so it's black and white. So I think for Simo, it's just a culmination to what he's been through, the questions that he's had. You can tell talking to the players, they're listening to the players, how close they are to him, and they would be so pleased for him and what an effort he's done.
On that same line of thought, Ruzi, that last 5 minutes, 4 minutes, where it's 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, what are you doing as a coach in that situation in the box? Because we saw Bucks and we saw Adam Simpson on the screen. What's going through your head at that point?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I said I got a text. It was like 05-06, wasn't it? It just seemed like, Juddy, that every moment was going to count, and even Simo then talked about the drop mark of Darling. So that's how engaged he is in the game. He knows he can't really change much, but even the ball's going into Darling and all of a sudden you think you've got the game. Finally, with a minute 20, you've got the game. It's all sewn up and the ball gets dropped. I reckon that's indicative of what we went through, Juddy, and the day and what the coach goes through. And I'm not sure a player in that instance, it'd be interesting your comments, Juddy, taking yourself through the players' thoughts when Darling drops that mark.
It would just look like both clubs are at that subconscious sort of desperation level that some matches only have for a couple of minutes. Some matches during the home and away season you never quite get there. So some of the players would have had limited awareness over just what exactly was going on throughout the game. Some of them wouldn't even have been acutely aware of exactly what the score was. But it did feel when he dropped that mark that it could have been one of the all-time stuff-ups, and you could have envisioned a situation where the Pies took it down the other end to steal the game.
And the runners get out and tell you how long there is to go. Legitimately, do you know the siren's going to sound, or are you just hoping?
Some do, but the message does. There wasn't a lot of slow plays. There wasn't a centre bounce, so that message wouldn't have gotten around to the whole team. So there would have been 5, 6, maybe 10 players that had a good feel for how long was left, but it wouldn't have reached the whole team.
What do you do now in the rooms as the coach? Do you get just the 22 in? Do you get everyone in? How do you handle it?
You get the 22 in for a start. Well, probably it takes a while to get them in because all the families are there, and you give them a bit of time with the families, etc., and then you get them in and you have a brief chat to them, and it's just so exciting. I mean, to see so many people enjoying it, it's lifelong. My father passed away about 12 months ago, and the images of him being in the rooms are just something you never ever forget. Some of the things that'll happen post game, Juddy. When they go back to West, these things you just never forget.
Yeah. In there, that's when you can finally switch off. The cameras aren't on you. They'll be in the change rooms with the locker rooms, a couple of cold beers, and that's when you start having a laugh, and the stories start there, and the stories don't stop for a couple of weeks, Duke.
I can imagine they wouldn't. A couple of weeks might be selling it short. They will tear Perth to shreds, this mob, when they get back there. And the parties over there will be just exploding.
Do they fly home tonight, the West Coast Eagles, do you think? Or
I doubt it.
No, they'll fly home tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Yep. And like Leo Barry's mark, that Sheed goal, we will now see that for the next 50 years. That Sheed goal is that big in that moment, and possibly to a lesser degree the McGovern mark and the Liam Ryan mark. But that Sheed goal, that is now imprinted in our football landscape forever.
Nick Nat-Nui, we can see on the screen, and you got to feel for him. Second knee reconstruction missed. He is by far the biggest presence at that club. Whenever you're going near the West Coast Eagles, he is enormous. So to not be a premiership player with everything he's brought to that place is a shame.
It sounds cheesy, but he still would have actually had a big involvement. The fact that he didn't drop his lip, the fact that he stayed involved, stayed encouraging. It's not the same as winning a premiership medal, but he still did have a big impact on that footy club this year.
He's a great personality. He carries himself so well. I've been in the West Coast rooms a lot this year, and he has not had a moment where you've thought that he has dropped his bundle at all. As Josh Kennedy and Shannon Hearn carry the cup down the race, JB, and Brucey's talking about moments you'll never forget. I'm sure that one will be etched in their memory forever.
Two of that footy club. Been around a long time and played incredible.
We believe Kennedy didn't get a vote in the Norm Smith, which I find is actually quite staggering.
Yeah, I can give you the voting, Ruzi. It was a win to Luke Shuey with 11 votes. Second was Taylor Adams with 7 votes. Dom Sheed got 4 votes, 1 to Langdon and 1 to McGovern. So Josh Kennedy didn't poll a vote in the Norm Smith medal.
All right, been absolutely fantastic. Well done to the Eagles, 5-point winners. Well done to Collingwood too on what has been a fantastic season. Chew Man, all the people, Damo in the back, you've all been sensational. For McDonald's, this has been Triple M rocking the grand final. Here's Brett Thomas with an M Sport update for Metro Trains.
Well, West Coast has pulled off a remarkable victory, beating Collingwood by 5 points in a thrilling AFL grand final. The Eagles trailed by 29 points in the first quarter before gradually working their way back into the game. Dom Sheed, the match winner, converting a difficult set shot late in the game. Here's the call on Triple M.
What can he do from this pocket? Set shot, left footer. It is good. That is incredible. That is unbelievable.
To basketball, Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers have beaten Melbourne United by 20 points in the first NBA v NBL matchup. The Aussie superstar enjoyed the hit-out.
It was a lot of fun. It was getting back into the court, getting a feel for the game again. Playing team basketball is what we do, so we had a lot of fun.
Melbourne Storm is still preparing for their old halfback Cooper Cronk to play in the NRL Grand Final tomorrow. That's despite the Roosters star barely training this morning. Here's Storm assistant coach Adam O'Brien.
I think he might. Yeah, at the end of the day, we have a plan in place. If he does play, and we have one if he doesn't, probably stop worrying about it a little bit.
Planning a night out with the girls, or just going around the corner? Wherever you're going, 13 Cabs will get you there. Get the new 13 Cabs app now. 13 Cabs, we'll get you there.
11 degrees, partly cloudy as the post-match party gets underway at the MCG, thanks to Metro Trains after the Eagles beat the Pies to win the premiership. For McDonald's, Triple M rocks the grand final.
As we've got to know Jane Kennedy this year, we've learned that as a working mum, she's doing the best she can.
Did you drop the kids off in your pyjamas one day?
I've done that lots of times. Have ya? I did fall asleep in the car outside the school. And
Waiting.
And then finally, a school teacher came and knocked on the to wake me up.
Did your head hit the horn?
End your day the right way with Triple M's Kennedy Malloy, driving you home from 4.
Dave, we won that Clark Road contract. Yeah, so we're going to need more workers. But on truckloads more supplies to get it done.
When businesses need funding, NAB QuickBiz provides fast access to unsecured funds based on the strength of your cash flow, not your assets.
Hey, Dave, grab a shovel. The first load's already here.
It's called NAB QuickBiz for a reason. To apply online, search NAB QuickBiz today. Terms, conditions and lending criteria apply. NAB. More than money.
For a limited time, you can buy a high-performance Husqvarna grass trimmer with pro-grade features from just $189, a handheld blower from $229, or an easy-to-start hedge trimmer from just $324. Plus, save up to $150 on selected Husqvarna brush cutter models. Available at your local participating authorised Husqvarna servicing dealer today. Husqvarna, ready when you are. Offer valid for a limited time or while stocks last. See Husqvarna.com for details.
What are we going to do? Footy season is almost over. Time to face the hangover that comes after the high. Oh, forgot about Bathurst. Honey, take the lock off the fridge. We're going to party like it's, I don't know, still footy season. The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Bring it on. Get all your official merch at the Super Cheap Auto pop-up store online at supercheapauto.com.au.
MotoGP riders live on the edge. It's a fine line between breaking clear and sliding out. A rider's concentration and a fan's exhilaration. The only way to get closer to the edge is to book your tickets now for the Michelin Australian MotoGP 2018. Share the ultimate action-packed weekend with mates, or make the most of our family offer. Kids 14 and under go free. October 26 to 28 at Phillip Island. Tickets from $40 at motogp.com.au. T's and C's apply. Supported by the Victorian Government.
Whether it's a crowd favourite or a rising star, we've got your finals lineup covered at First Choice Liquor. Pick up a fan favourite like a case of Bundaberg UP and Cola cans for just $69. That's right, just $69. Pick up your own finals lineup at First Choice Liquor.
We all love footy season, but that doesn't mean hay fever season is taking a break. Don't let your hay fever ruin the big game. Claritine works fast and provides 24-hour non-drowsy relief from hay fever so you won't miss a minute of the action. Live Claritine clear this footy season. And right now at Chemist Warehouse, Claritine 75-pack is just $29.99.
Always read the label, use only as directed. If symptoms persist, consult your healthcare professional.
Chemist Warehouse, lowest prices every day.
If you don't know where to start with your bathroom reno,
Beaumonts have pre-designed bathroom packages in styles like coastal, Scandi, modern,
all including tiles, bath, vanity taps, the lot.
from under $4,000.
Plus great advice, so no stuff-ups.
Beaumont Tiles, looking good at a showroom near you.
Now the footy's done and dusted, get ready for Triple M's Oztober.
31 days celebrating the greatest Australian rock. And we'll finish it off with the biggest garage session in Triple M history. Birds of Tokyo, The Living End, Paul Kelly and more. Oztober, a month-long celebration of Aussie music.
Now the footy's wrapped up exclusively on Triple M.